right, everybody, it's time to go live. I know everybody is stoked. I've lost 4 subscribers since my last live stream. I think because of my controversial take on Israel. My last live stream, I went kind of all in on the big beautiful bomb and whatnot. So I lost 4 subscribers over the last few days. I apologize. I don't know to my Zionists. Didn't realize I had so many Zionists in the chat. W in the chat. W in the chat. Or is that an L? That's more of an L in the chat, I guess. So anyway, sorry. I guess when you speak the truth out, then you're bound to alienate some people or whatever. Who the hell knows? Anyway, maybe they were bots. Who knows? I don't think it's a coincidence. But in any case, so yeah, we'll tone it down politically for this stream. We won't. What else is there to say? It's been a few days. The situation has sort of cooled off. This stream is not going to be about that. Okay, so you can relax, everybody who got all worked up about my life. Although I got a lot of views. Well, any case, okay. So I did want to talk about New York Times is doing this list all week, top 100 films of the 21st century. It's kind of sad, to be honest. Kind of a sad list. Lady Bird is like number 39. It's higher than The Master, and The Master is higher than Megalopolis is 100. So what the hell do they know? Obviously, they're clearly. But anyway, part of the fun with the New York Times, I don't know why I pay so much attention to the New York Times. It basically decides my life. But in any case, you can make your own list. It's fun. It's like Wordle, okay? All you need to do is give them your email address, and you can make your own list of top 10 films of the 21st century. And so I've been sort of mulling that over. So I figured that'd be a safe topic. We don't need to talk about, although we will talk about Zorhan Manni. Big news out of New York. We shocked the world, so I will offer my 2 cents. We did endorse. I know I'm a libtard, but we did endorse. I'm starting to come around. It's starting to make sense to me. I know Bill Maher is going to hate Zorhan. I can't wait to hear what Bill Maher. Well, I can wait, but wait, it's not on anymore. Real time is off for like a month or something. So we're not going to get Bill Maher's hot take on the New York City. Well, one thing I do want to say is he's not the mayor. He won the fucking Democratic primary, which is already weird enough because he's a socialist. He's very outspoken about that. And so in a certain way, Eric Adams is still going to run. Is Cuomo still going to run just as an independent? In a certain way, I guess it's sort of, it leaves us to presume he's going to win because usually a Democrat wins in New York. And so the conclusion I guess we can draw from this is that he's probably going to be the next mayor, which I think is a great thing. I think New York City mayors have had a lot of influence on this country in a good way. LaGuardia, Al Smith, a lot of that New Deal style politics came out of New York, kind of electoral, mayoral, gubernatorial, those offices. And I think, New York, we're leaders. We're cultural leaders. We show the rest of the country the future. We're ahead. Well, it's a concentrated zone of, I don't know, people that really take themselves seriously, or people that are very, people that are aiming for the brass ring or something. Everybody in New York is kind of exceptional or something. I don't know. Or at least the people that aren't narcissists who took themselves seriously. It's educated people. It's people in culture industry, whatever. People with money. And so we elected a socialist, just like we elected AOC. It's a way of, I mean, to me, it sort of indicates, is this the way shit's going to go down? Is this country sort of splinters or fractures or splits in half? Places like New York, California, will they secede? Because we want socialist politics here. Apparently, we want city-run grocery stores. We want rent freeze. This was the platform. Sounds good to me. Why the fuck not? I'm not against like leftist politics, but like just because Bernie didn't win the fucking nomination doesn't mean I'm not going to vote for Kamala. I think that's just shooting yourself in the foot to spite your leg or whatever the fuck the expression is. Like obviously we want Bernie, we want a socialist, we want fucking Zorhan Mamdani, or I think AOC would be a great president. Honestly, I think AOC is the fucking future. And I think to some degree there is a lot of truth. That there is truth to, like, we're living in an age of populism where on the internet everybody has a voice, on fucking Twitter everybody has a voice. Most people are poor. Most people want free shit. Most people want their housing costs to go down and their grocery costs to go down, right? That's what the election was all about, the fucking price of eggs. And so, of course, they're going to vote for the socialist and AOC or the Democratic Socialist or whatever, instead of the neoliberal Hillary, Kamala, whatever, status quo. If they're given the option, the Republicans, right, they're sort of activist, populist candidate who sort of took over their fucking party is Trump, right? Obviously. Democrats sort of repressed Bernie and the whole kind of like socialist activist revolution, woke revolution that's sort of happening. And so they paid the price a couple times, right? With Hillary and Kamala. Nobody would vote for them because they were perceived as fucking over Bernie, running through, Kamala without a primary. And so people just said, fuck, the Democrats are as bad as the Republicans. They're the the left, they're the center of they're the left wing of the right wing party, or I don't know. They're just as beholden to corporate interests. They let the Republicans sort of do whatever they want. And so clearly the left wants a populist fucking, they want a Bernie. They want a fucking Zorhan. They want a fucking, who knows who it'll be in 2028. Hopefully AOC, to be honest. Maybe I sound like a Marxist leftist, extreme, to the right wing, or to even to Bill Maher, like Zorhan, they're going to look at him and be like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking commie. This guy's so far left. It's like, not really. I mean, there's a lot of lineage of that kind of politics. Fucking, I heard de Blasio did rent freeze. They said de Blasio used rent freeze 3 times. So Zorhan, they're framing it like it's some new thing that like the government price. It's like New York has had rent control, rent stabilization. Like that is one of the things that makes New York what it is there is this kind of core of like protecting the tenants. It's only since Giuliani and Bloomberg that it's become this luxury city for billionaires and shit like that. And so I do think Zorhan is like hopefully resetting the course of this city to be make it affordable, right? That's like his whole fucking platform. Is like make New York City affordable. I think that sounds pretty fucking good. If they can actually do that, if that's their like mission statement, I think that's a great idea. Like who wouldn't want that? Like what we have now is a city for the 1%. We have a city for billionaires, and it's a playground for the ultra wealthy. And it's like, it just sucks. It's not that, I mean, it's amazing, but it's also like kind of bland because everybody here is like some kind of like prince, or just some kind of spoiled fucking like royalty that's never had to fucking like lift a finger for anything. And so if they were able to restore New York to be like a city for the people, I think that would be a good thing for the whole fucking country. When you disable New York as like this gathering place and this hub for working people, working class, whatever. Thank God these affluent rich people have working class politics. Thank God they're socialists. Thank God all of the fucking transplants, all the virtue signaling woke transplants in New York are smart enough to fucking vote for this guy. I mean, I thought the campaign was pretty annoying, I gotta say. And I don't know. I get it though. I get it. It's like we have been brainwashed a lot away from this stuff. People just hear these policies. The Democrats are coming out and piling on this guy. Kathy Hochul is like, because they're saying that a bunch of billionaires are going to leave the city. Rich people are going to leave the city if this guy gets elected because he'll raise their taxes. It's like, who gives a shit? Fuck them. Get them out. Get them out of here. If they leave, good. Maybe it'll make, room for somebody else, somebody with some fucking merit, not just some tech douchebag. I hope AI does put all these people that make $200,000 a year doing tech shit out of work, because then maybe I'll be able to afford a fucking apartment again. Maybe the rent will go down if all of the white collar Google people with email jobs lose their fucking 6-figure salaries. Maybe that'll make it easier for the rest of us who work in the people business, who work in real life. I'm predicting a boom in open mic industry. The open mic business is going to explode in the next 10 years. It's going to be like oil. It's the next Silicon Valley. Open mics. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's fucking hopeful. Like I said, it's not necessarily a new thing for New York to be innovative and leading the way in this kind of shit, or at least. But I mean, I don't necessarily know if I see that taking root like on a national level. Like, to me, this is not any different than like the AOC moment of 2017. It's a reaction to Trump. Trump got reelected, which sort of like took people by surprise over the last 6 months. So everybody on the left, the resistance, is sort of coming out of their stupor and being like, yo, what the fuck can we do about this? We need to re-engage. We can't just sit on our fucking hands like we have been and, okay, we're going to elect this guy. We're going to get out the vote. It became like a meme or something. It became like this cool, sexy thing over the past week to be like canvassing for Zorhan and fucking going to the Zorhan fucking victory party with the guy from fucking Subway Takes and Ella Imhoff, Kamala's daughter-in-law, or whatever the fuck she is. So I don't know. I mean, good for New York and the spoiled Whole Foods people just get more. I don't know. I mean, New York has always had kind of like, it's got international influence. It's got European influence. So it's like, people in New York are going to Denmark. They're going to fucking Copenhagen. They're going to these Scandinavian countries and shit where they have socialism. They're seeing how functional these other cities are. And they're going, what the fuck is going on in New York that, not that it's that bad. I mean, other than sort of like the whole narrative about the subway, people getting lit on fire, or the migrants living in hotels and shit. Cost of living crisis, I guess, is the big issue with Zorhan. Is like he's making these promises, which I guess are sort of pie in the sky, or that's what the pragmatic liberal kind of center, whatever, left, center right, however you want to look at it, Kathy Hochul, they look at it like, how are we going to pay for this shit? Where's the money going to come from? These you can make all these promises, you can I did see an article. They just approved 2.75 billion, half the budget for this subway line from like Bay Ridge to like Queens It basically like goes through Bushwick and Ridgewood and shit. It'd be a great way for me to get to like nowadays or Caffeine Underground. Like I did Caffeine Underground last week, and getting out there is just such a pain in the ass because it's all these crazy angled lines, and you got to walk super far from the train when you get there. I love doing it, but this new subway line would make it a little easier. So I don't know if they don't blow up. Supposedly, I don't know. I heard some kind of threat. These astrologers are talking about fertilizer. If they don't blow up New York City with fertilizer bombs. I mean, what I've seen with this Iran thing, right, is like supposedly this bunker buster missile didn't even hit. It didn't do shit. It missed the target. It didn't even blow up the fucking target. Didn't kill anybody, thank God. But it was kind of just like pointless. They dropped this huge bomb, I guess, just as a show of fuck around and find out. It's just a way to flex our nuts. But so Iran, I guess, were making fun of us when they sent these missiles at Qatar. Is it Qatar or is it Qatar? Because I'm hearing everybody say Qatar, but I don't think that's right. I think Qatar is right. Like guitar. It's probably Qatar, but I like Qatar. So they sent these missiles that didn't hit anything as sort of a way of making fun of the fact that we didn't hit anything of theirs, and just as like a tit for tat. I mean, Iran, these are proud people. You know, there's a reason why they've stood up to the United States empire. They're one of the few countries that has. They're one of the few countries that's big enough and sort of fortified enough, and their personality and their spirit as a people remains unbroken. So, who knows what the next fucking steps with that shit are. I mean, I don't necessarily want to go into that, but we'll get into it, I'm sure, at some point. I really just wanted to talk about my top 10 films of the 21st century, adding to the New York Times list. We got to talk about something safe, okay? We can't talk about Israel or the bomb or fertilizer bombs. Well, so that being said, we didn't really kill a bunch of people. I mean, I guess Israel is bombing the shit out of them, but like, I don't think they're going to, first of all, I don't think they have sleeper cells in the United States. I mean, I know Trump has probably fucked up the intelligence apparatus to the point where like, it's probably not even functional anymore. So who knows? Maybe they do, but like, it seems like terrorism is almost like this antiquated, it's like, it's obsolete, or it's just like it's not. I mean, maybe that it's a little premature to say that and naive to say that, but like it just doesn't seem realistic to me that there's sleeper cells in the United States that have purchased like thousands of pounds of fertilizer to make like some kind of like giant dirty bomb or whatever the fuck it is. Like they would be able to, there's been Homeland Security for 20 fucking plus years. Like they would be able to track that shit if you were buying that much fertilizer or whatever. And most of the Islamic, like the terrorists, there were a couple terrorist attacks in Columbus, Ohio, where I'm from. It was like somebody had like a sword or a knife or something and like went on campus and like slashed a bunch of people or like went into a restaurant. It wasn't like a big fucking bomb went off or they crashed a plane into something. Thank God. I mean, God forbid, something like that should happen. But it's like, I mean, we all take our fucking shoes off at the airport. We watch this movie, Big Trouble. Have people seen Big Trouble with Tim Allen? It's the only movie based on a Dave Barry book. Okay. I don't know if people know. I've never read Dave Barry, but he was on Real Time a couple weeks ago and he was genuinely fucking hilarious. I don't remember anything he said, but Dave Barry was like the funniest guest they've had on that show, to be honest. And I've never read. I remember he was in the goddamn newspaper in Columbus, Ohio, in the Columbus Dispatch. They had Dave Barry's column. It was in like the life section with like the cartoons, Shelby Lyman on chess or whatever that guy's name was. Entertainment. I read like the entertainment news. That's what I was interested in. I was interested in like what movies were being made, what TV shows, what celebrity, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. Literary stuff, book stuff, theater stuff, whatever the hell, music, culture, you might say. Um, but they had Dave Barry in there for some reason. He was a columnist. I never read it. It always seemed kind of like Jimmy Buffett of literature or something. Not, I mean, Jimmy Buffett wrote books, but he's from Florida and like he has this like popular appeal. It's like he seems like Gary Larson of like the Far Side. Like he's kind of that era, like 80s. PJ O'Rourke was super big for some reason. I'm not really sure what the appeal of PJ O'Rourke was. Or Gary Trudeau, fucking Doonesbury. I like the idea of Doonesbury. I've never actually read Doonesbury, but they have like a Hunter S. Thompson character. I think that's super cool. You know, I like the idea that Doonesbury has like been running since like fucking Watergate or something. Maybe even before that. Like, how the fuck is Doonesbury still going? God bless Doonesbury. But or is it? I don't know. Is it still going? Like and subscribe if Doonesbury is still going. I lost 4 subscribers because of my controversial views on the conflict in Iran, the regime change. That's the hot, propaganda. There was this guy on TikTok who's like, wait 2 or 3 days for the Fox News people to get their talking points. And then people's opinions will change. Regime change. That's the bumper sticker for why we're there. Regime change. Makes it sound innocuous. Makes it sound like fucking we're changing over from our lunch to our dinner menu. We're doing a regime change real fast. At 4 o'clock we stopped serving lunch and we're serving dinner now. So we've got a regime change, everybody. God bless America. 4th of July. I mean, I don't know. The astrology's crazy. Apparently the last 2 days were super good for manifesting, but I don't know. It's July 4th, 2025. What the fuck? What should we do? Just hide? We're going to let the terrorists win and the jihadists win? So maybe the leftists were right. I mean, apparently it's either Zorhan or Trump. It's like one or the other. Or the same. It's like the same people who voted for fucking Trump who like love Red Scare, like are fucking psyched about Zorhan. It just makes no sense to me. Somebody explain it to me. I don't know. Populism. It's populism. These are the populist candidates. These are the candidates that like have some kind of viral charisma that like, Kamala and Hillary famously lack. I mean, even Biden was sort of a meme, right? There was like the Uncle Joe with the Corvette and the aviators and the ice cream and shit. They were sort of able to memeify. He would say some shit every once in a while that people thought was funny. He'd say, you ain't black or whatever. Or he'd cuss. This is a big fucking deal. Remember Biden said, this is a big fucking deal. That was sort of an early Trump just said, they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. People thought that was like some kind of crazy, wow, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Talk about projecting. Jesus Christ. Talk about not knowing what the fuck you're doing. Trump is Mr. Pot to calling Mr. Kettle. It's one of his prime personality characteristics. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's playing jazz, which is cool, I guess, with the nukes, with the nuclear football. Why not play jazz? Why not have a Statue of Liberty play with the nuclear football? Let's do a fucking a flea flicker with the nuclear football. What do you say? They don't know what the fuck they're doing. So yeah, I don't know. We're not really in a full blown war. It seems like the Iranians are, they're smart enough and they're sort of weirdly level headed enough. They could be. We like to portray them like they're these religious fanatic, like they're any different than the fucking Christian conservatives in this country. But or they're banging their shoe on a table or some kind of crazy. Watch Rick Steves' travel thing about Iran. Rick Steves has really good things to say about Iran. I mean, I was going to put up a vlog about Iran because my ex was Persian and she went there. She went to Iran and she filmed all this shit there in like 2016, 2017. So I watched, it was an hour and a half of footage. We should have just released it all. So it's like I've sort of seen the firsthand what it's like there. I haven't been there or anything, but it's like it's not this fucking desert with like minarets and shit like that with a bunch of big Ayatollah beards and fucking turbans and shit. It looks like fucking the United States does, kind of, for a lot of it. So with top 10 films of the 21st century, leave yours in the comments. I've disabled the chat, obviously, because it's just too dangerous. Reporting from an undisclosed location. Yeah, I know my live stream's not as exciting as I Show Speed or Kai Cenat or DDG or Victoria Lopez or whatever her name is. But there's just we're talking heads here, and so top 10 fucking films of the 21st century. Well, okay, the past couple of days I've been watching the worst movies ever made. So we finished Mad Men. I got to say, I think the last half of the 7th season is kind of weak. I don't know. I guess it's kind of interesting in retrospect. Don leaves his job at McCann Erickson because he just becomes a cog in this giant machine, and he goes on the road like Jack Kerouac. John Hamm has kind of a beat quality that I think works for the character. He would have been good as a Kerouac in a Kerouac movie. He'd be good in like a Big Sur movie or maybe like a Satori in Paris movie. John Hamm might be good like Fat Jack Kerouac. Satori in Paris with John Hamm. He just got the vibe for it. So, he goes to the fucking VW hall. He admits that he kills the CEO. So he's got catharsis. I don't know. We watched The Ringer. Have people seen The Ringer with fucking Johnny Knoxville? Johnny Knoxville plays a guy who is cheating in the Special Olympics. It was surprisingly heartfelt and sensitive. Being about I mean, with Ashley, it's like you kind of just have to find the most tasteless, politically incorrect movies. That's what she'll watch. That's why we watched every Rob Schneider film. Well, so I've been on this Brian Wilson kick, right, recently. And we watched Love and Mercy, the fucking John Cusack, Paul Dano. Have people seen Love and Mercy? It was pretty good, actually. And I gotta say, I thought Cusack was actually better. I thought Cusack was actually better than Paul Dano. Cusack was like tasteful. He did a little bit of Brian Wilson like isms because Brian Wilson is a very distinct way of speaking and just like his whole kind of bearing. Because he's a haunted person in certain ways. Paul Dano, I don't know. He's always what he is. He's okay. He tried. I liked the scenes with like where they're showing how they recorded pet sounds and shit. I thought those were well done. It was okay. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, I'm not a fan of music biopics, but that one seemed like it might be funny because it's like John Cusack doesn't look anything like Brian Wilson. He didn't wear a wig. It's just like weird late plastic surgery fucking John Cusack with like his weird hair. I mean, I appreciate that Cusack is like super politically engaged on Twitter and shit, but like what happened to, Cusack was kind of a force for good in the film world. He made some spirited, kind of memorable film, Say Anything, of course. All those fucking movies, One Crazy Summer, and he made some crazy fucking movies. 8 Men Out, High Fidelity, of course. Cusack is somebody as actors, I think that's kind of like the sum total of your career is like the films that you were a part of that kind of remain with people that are watchable, that are memorable, that are just good movies. And he does things that are smart. They're not too fucking smart. They don't like alienate people. Uh we watched Henry Johnson the day that was what we started with. We started with Henry Johnson, the new David Mamet film. And it's a play. It's completely a play. And fucking Shia LaBeouf is barely even in the goddamn movie. He's in one. It's a 3-act. There's 3 scenes in the fucking movie. The first scene is 25 minutes long. And it's just these 2 guys talking. You're like, what the fuck is this about? I have no idea. He kind of does the same thing in every scene. It's a classic Mamet thing where like the whole scene is just like this yarn, and it's just like these 2 people talking about whatever. And then at the end, there's like this flip where the con happens and one of the character kind of gets snared. Like in Glengarry Glen Ross. Because you listened, right? Because you listened, you're an accessory after the fact, and they could prosecute you just because you listened. That's what Moss says to fucking Alan Arkin. Because you listened. It's a real 5-bagger. This is my movie fucking podcast. So I don't know. It was like I think Mamet should just do his thing. If he wants to film a play and just leave it at that, like hell yeah, just do it. Like it's almost the thing was so verbally dense. It's like a text, which I like that. I like filmed plays. I'm a sucker for that. I think there needs to be more of that. I think he should keep doing it. I don't like Mamet's politics at all. It's weird how on YouTube he is. He's in all of these. He does all these fucking interviews on all these. Mamet is like a weird kind of like subaltern of the fucking manosphere. He's been on Rogan a couple times. He's been on fucking Club Random a couple times. He's very outspoken about Trump. He loves Trump. It's so ironic that he would get conned by like the ultimate, like cheesiest con man. Like the ultimate always be closing kind of fucking yuppie douchebag. Always be getting tax abatements from the government. The art of the tax abatement. So, I mean, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what the fuck Henry Johnson was about. I don't have a clue. This guy goes to jail. It's sort of like Edmund. It's sort of like that Edmund. Just a guy sort of like going from like upper middle class life to just like totally unraveling to like the bottom of society through crime. It you know it it's interesting that because did he get canceled or something? I guess in a certain way, even though he's on fucking Broadway right now, and Mamet in a certain way has become like more famous. Like Glengarry Glen Ross has become like sort of like a household movie in a classic. It's sort of like a modern classic in a crazy way. And this movie is a lot like Glengarry Glen Ross the play, where it's like these 3 scenes, but it's like the movie Glengarry Glen Ross is better than the play because they edit everything and they intercut everything. Whereas like you see it on stage and it's like there's no Alec Baldwin scene, there is no Always Be Closing, and it's just like seeing all of fucking the Machine and Williamson, seeing all of fucking Aronow and Moss, and it's like there's no kind of interplay between the guys like in the movie. And so the movie is actually better than the fucking play. And they should just put the goddamn movie script on stage. But in any case, I'd like to see Mamet's JFK movie. Apparently, he was going to make a movie about the fucking JFK assassination with Shia LaBeouf as Lee Harvey Oswald, and fucking Louis C.K. was going to play Jack Ruby. That sounds pretty interesting to me. Somebody give him money to make this fucking movie. I liked his Phil Spector movie. I like Red Belt. I mean, like I said, I think his politics are atrocious. But I wish more people were making like filmed theater type shit. You know, why aren't there more people on that level? I don't know. What is it that's unique about like Mamet speak or whatever? Why is he? I mean, he's so percussive. He's so specific about the rhythms. To me, his rhythms are like how people talk. They have all the kind of stops and starts and slash and cutting yourself off, and all of those rhythms are in there in a way that other playwrights really don't even try to do because it's so stylized. I don't know. It's like you kind of just write plain spoken. You write simple, concise. But I don't know. Apparently, Mamet hasn't made a film in like 15 years or something. His last movie may have been the Phil Spector movie, which I thought was pretty good. It was an HBO movie. I'd like to see his fucking JFK movie. All right. So top 10 goddamn movies of the fucking 21st century. Have you guys filled out your New York Times ballot? New York Times is doing a reader poll. I mean, I gotta say, P.T. Anderson is growing on me. Ashley hates P.T. Anderson, so we like will not watch any of his films. But we have to watch the worst movies ever made. So we watched The Ringer with with Johnny Depp or Johnny Knoxville. I'm sorry, Johnny Knoxville. Apparently, Brian Wilson's favorite movie was the movie Norbit with Eddie Murphy, which got. I remember when it came out, it's like these Adam Sandler movies and these Rob Schneider movies. It's like the worst reviewed movie. The critics fucking hated it. So I knew it would be perfect for us. I knew it would be perfect for our sort of. That's what I don't know. That's what we can watch is these comedies that are just like super low commitment. And if they're funny, they're funny. I mean, who cares how stupid they are? Like if they're funny, that's the whole fucking point. And I mean, I think Eddie Murphy is a fucking genius. And like, he should get Oscars for this shit. These movies where he like plays multiple characters and shit. It's like Eddie Murphy is as good as fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman. Eddie Murphy's as good as Joaquin Phoenix is, definitely. It's just he's got this kind of like machine where he cranks out these movies that's sort of like fucking Adam Sandler shit, where it's like he just made so many movies that just critics hated. Pluto Nash, Meet Dave. I mean, I remember when these movies came out, just got, they were famous for how bad they were and just how low their fucking like Rotten Tomatoes score was. It was like the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score anybody ever fucking had. So I'm like, these movies got to be good. And if Brian Wilson says it's funny and he liked it, he said he laughed his ass off or something. It's like, he's a fucking genius. I mean, like Brian Wilson is a very hip guy. I know that his brain was sort of destroyed by drugs and Mike Love and like abuse and like infighting in the band and whatever, a sort of a personality collapse brought on by cocaine and Dr. Landy. Paul Giamatti plays Dr. Landy. I guess that's an interesting part of the Brian Wilson story, the Dr. Landy years, but I don't know. I watched so apparently Brian Wilson's favorite movie is Norbert. And so I'm like, fuck. My Aunt Susie, rest in peace, her favorite, she loved comedy shit. She loved Guffman and she loved kind of like campy. She loved Carnival of Souls. She used to always watch The Clumps, Nutty Professor 2, which has the scene where Eddie Murphy is playing all of the fucking characters around the dinner table and shit. He should have got an Oscar. He's like Alec Guinness. I mean, who else is playing 7 fucking characters and wearing all this makeup and shit? Jim Carrey never even did that. You know, Jim Carrey never really did that many movies where he played like multiple characters. Like Eddie Murphy's playing 8 fucking characters in the movie. It's insane. And he's hilarious. You know, I mean, Eddie Murphy is like, he's one of these actors that has sort of become just like a factory of like, okay, he's going to come out with 1 or 2 movies, like De Niro or something, 1 or 2 movies of a year. They're probably going to be bad, but it's like, or Elvis. They're like Elvis movies. It's like, okay, they're shitty, but like the dudes, they just crank them out. Or Woody Allen, they all eventually become like, some of them are good, some of them are worse, but they generally get more mediocre, I guess you'd say. Adam Sandler movies are probably like that, where it's just like they kind of get shittier. Grown Ups 2, Murder Mystery was pretty shitty. The Happy Gilmore 2 looks really bad. So anyway, we watched Norbert, and I gotta say, it's probably more offensive than Rob Schneider. Eddie Murphy plays an Asian character in the movie, and it's very fucking. I mean, Ashley didn't seem offended, but it's like he's full. It's a full. You can't even tell it's Eddie Murphy, and he's switching the R's and the L's and shit. You know, in 2007 or 8, when that movie was, the whole movie is a fat joke. He plays this character Rasputina, so he plays Norbit, who's sort of like this innocent, kind of nerdy guy, like Bowfinger, kind of. He's got glasses. He's weak. He's passive. He's never had a girlfriend. And then Rasputina is like his huge, just walking fat joke. The whole movie is just fat shaming, fat shaming, fat shaming. And they've got Tandy Newton. I think Tandy Newton is fantastic. She's one of the best actors. She plays Condoleezza in the W movie. She was in something else where she was really good too. I'm a big Tandy Newton fan. I think she's in one of the Mission Impossible movies. So she's in it. And of course she weighs like 90 fucking pounds or something. So it's a body shaming classic. In the pre kind of 2010s, where all that shit was kind of like, you know, revised and all those rules were reoriented towards other people. But I don't know. Norbert, it was pretty funny, I gotta say. It's just a silly piece of shit. I don't know. Like, I guess that's junk food or comfort food, or it's not easy watching fucking I don't know, Tarkovsky or whatever. We tried to put this Henry Yaglom. I really like Henry Yaglom. You know, because like, so what movies have stayed with us? What movies, looking back, am I like, oh, okay. Like, I'd love to see Scarecrow again. I thought Scarecrow was phenomenal. There's certain movies that I'd almost rather rewatch these movies than like watch new movies. Because watching a new movie, it's like there's a learning curve. You don't know what you're like. We watched Are We Here? It's the movie Matt Weiner wrote. The Mad Men creator wrote a movie. It's got Owen Wilson, Zach Galifianakis, the chick from The Office, Jenna Fisher. Oh, who's the chick in the movie? Oh, God. Oh, Amy Poehler's in it. It was kind of interesting, but it was also like surprisingly mid and just like generic. For that, you know, Mad Men was so interesting. This movie was very like just kind of generic. It could have been it was just kind of like, it felt like an indie movie from the 90s. it was kind of hard to, like as you're watching it, you're just like, this is so boring. It's not that funny. These characters aren't that interesting. They're kind of just like vague. Zach Galifianakis is like a pothead. Owen Wilson is a fucking TV. There's too many movies about TV weathermen. It's not an interesting thing to make a movie about. It's like there's so many fucking movies. Groundhog Day. I think there's a movie called The Weatherman with Nicolas Cage. L.A. Story's a weatherman. There's tons of movies about like newscasters, weather people. It's overdone. You'd think Matt Weiner would make a more interesting film, but it was okay. It wasn't anything. It was better than fucking some of these Adam Sandler movies, I guess. But we watched a few. So we watched this movie, Big Trouble. Have you seen Big Trouble? It was clearly made before 9/11 because they get on a fucking plane with a nuclear bomb. And they don't even have to give the ticket person their names or anything. Tom Sizemore walks up to the ticket desk and tells them their names are all John Smith or whatever the hell it is. John Doe. It's like they don't even have to show ID or anything. They get a nuclear bomb through the fucking the TSA. They didn't even have the TSA. They've got like a metal detector. It's a lot like Get Shorty. You can tell they're trying to do Get Shorty again. It was okay. It was fast. At least it was only an hour and 25 minutes. It's like the thing is, all these fucking shitty comedy movies are like an hour and 50 minutes. Every Farrelly Brothers movie is like an hour. We watched a Hall Pass. I thought Hall Pass was going to be about like they go back to school or some shit. Some kind of stupid. They're hall monitors. They're adult hall monitors or some kind of dumb shit like that. But it's all about them cheating on their wives. It was okay. It wasn't. It was way longer and more complicated than it needed to be. It's like it's a stupid comedy. There's no like life lesson here. There's no like deep soul fucking thing. It's like this movie's a piece of shit. We all know it's a piece of shit. Make it as funny as you can possibly fucking make it, and make it 90 minutes or less for Christ's sake. It's like it's a D comedy. Deuce Bigelow European Gigolo does not need to be an hour and 53 minutes long. Like make it an hour and 25 minutes and call it a day. Like The Hot Chick, make it 80 minutes. For God's sake, have mercy. Do not make The Hot Chick an hour and 56 minutes. There's no need for all of that Rob Schneider. In all of these movies, we're like fucking an hour and, like, are we here? What the hell was this movie about? It felt like a TV show that he turned into a script that didn't quite work. It was a little muddy. The inciting incident and the rising action were a little muddy, if you ask me. They were muddled. So yeah, I watched this fucking. There's a documentary on YouTube actually directed by Don Was. Don Was is kind of one of the cool. I don't know. He's got kind of a weird niche in the music industry. I think he produced one or two of Bob Dylan's albums. He's also in Wolf Brothers, I'm pretty sure, with Bob Weir. And I think he's produced a bunch of. He seems kind of Lenny Kravitz-y to me or something. Did he produce a Guns N' Roses thing or something? He feels kind of like Guns N' Roses-y to me. I don't know the whole Don Was kind of lore. But I was watching. There's this documentary about Brian Wilson directed by Don Was. It's on YouTube. It's an hour and 6 minutes. Perfect. So if you're into music, I've never heard of it before. It's pretty cool. It's like a 90s that's filmed in like black and white. And it's got a lot of interviews with Brian Wilson where like you can tell he just kind of gets to be himself. He gets to be funny. He's a hilarious guy. I mean, Brian Wilson is a lyrical genius. A lot of his songs are like profound. Wind Chimes or Busy Doing Nothing or Wonderful or This Old World. In My Room is like this profound poem. In My Room is completely a poem. I think he wanted to make religious. He says that in this documentary. He says that they would pray. He prayed to make music that would speak to like the voice of God to the people. He wanted God to use him to make music that like the human race like needed. He prayed to do that. Now, I don't know, maybe that's too religious. Maybe, I don't know. The Beach Boys, there is something religious about their music because it's harmony. It's like church music. I mean, those harmonies, I think there's something so profound about harmony singing. It's such a magical human that when you combine voices, it creates this third sound. It creates, it creates the sum is greater than the parts or whatever it is, right? And the Beach Boys are like the ultimate sound. I mean, Jesus Christ, their harmonies. I was watching this video of them singing their harmonies individually, and they're like melody lines. It's like they each have their own individual melody line. I don't know how they remember it, to be honest. When they're with each other and they're that close to each other, I don't know how the fuck they do that stuff. That's like the one talent I wish I could have. I can't do harmony singing. I have no idea how it works. I'm terrible at it. I just don't know how to do that. Supposedly Brian Wilson he said he would sit at the piano when he was a teenager and pick out four freshman parts. I guess a lot of their harmonies are based on four freshmen, which if you listen to Their Hearts Were Full of Spring, it sounds like a lot of Beach Boys stuff. But I also think there's truth to the idea that with Pet Sounds and with Smile, it's like they were going to places that like, I mean, the Beatles had a bunch of different people. They had George Martin. He's like an old guy. He had a lot of experience. He had a lot of knowledge. They had John Lennon and Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Beach Boys had Brian Wilson did all of that shit himself. He'd write the music, he'd write the vocal harmony parts, he'd write the arrangements, he'd fucking produce the record, like he'd write some of the lyrics. It's like that's one guy doing all that shit. And to be honest, the music he was making, not that that's necessarily a value, but like it was kind of more complicated. I mean, I think if you put that Smile stuff up, if Smile would have come out when it was supposed to come out, like before Sgt. Pepper's, I don't think Sgt. Pepper's beats that album. It may not have been as commercially successful. It probably would have bombed. Apparently, Pet Sounds bombed. People really, it wasn't as popular as fucking, their surf music and shit like that about cars and fucking girls and shit. Their sexist lyrics about women's bodies were more popular than, their teenage symphony about vegetables or whatever. Modular. What part of what they were talking about, modular songwriting. Brian Wilson, I guess he would just when he'd have a problem, he'd just get up and go in the other room and he'd write a song and that would make him feel better. And so he'd come up with just like these little jingles or something, like something like Good Vibrations is modular, where it's like all these little parts that they kind of just like cut and paste together, like a fucking, like a cut up, like a Burroughs thing almost. It's a collage. It's like, here's this little melody idea and lyric. Here's this completely different kind of counterpoint. Good Vibrations, right, is probably the apex. And the whole Smile album, you can see, kind of works like that, where it's like this timeline and all these parts that you could kind of take apart like Legos or some shit and put back together. And he was the mastermind of how it was supposed to flow and how it was supposed to work, so nobody else could figure that out. But I mean, I got to say, listening to that Smile album, it's like, it really is continuous. And it unlike Sergeant Pepper's, which is just these songs that kind of are dressed up in this kind of like classical rock, kind of like uh technicolor painting thing. Smile, they wanted to write this thing about manifest destiny and the West, and have all these influence, and it's like it's all in there. Everything they were talking about, and it kind of combines all of these crazy kind of influences in a really amazing way. The fact that it goes from that Our Prayer piece right into the doo-wop G song, that contrast between this like very high spiritual sounding group harmony to this kind of 50s teenage kind of up tempo thing. The whole album is full of contrasts, and it's like a movie, right? It's like a montage. And so, I've listened to that thing a bunch of times because there's such interesting sounds in it. The lyrics are very interesting. They're like poetry. Those Van Dyke Parks lyrics, they're like fucking Hart Crane or something. So that's all in there. And it's really combined with the music in this really synesthesia kind of way. There's a lot of color, there's a lot of paint and texture, and it all just kind of smears together. Fucking Pet Sounds has got tons of instrumental stuff. I'm listening to Smile the other, and I'm like, oh, there's the end kind of drags with all the Mrs. O'Leary's cow shit, the Chicago Fire shit. It's like Pet Sounds is the same thing. Pet Sounds is all these fucking instrumentals. It's like, it's just thank God they completed it and released it even in the form that they did, because I mean it really is it's like a classical piece. You can see the fucking Rhapsody in Blue influence. I guess that was another big thing that Brian Wilson would listen to a lot. Rhapsody in Blue, I guess, was constantly on in his house along with Be My Baby. But the other thing about Brian Wilson is he this is an ongoing tribute the whole summer. It's Beach Boys summer. It's an endless summer. It's worth talking about because I do think like this Don Was documentary, I think that's part of what he's trying to do with it. It's like this guy's kind of overlooked in an insane way. Like he's a giant in a way that like I just don't know if we have comparable figures. I mean the 60s, those rock kind of icons or whatever. Is there anything that is on that level? People like that. I mean, the way that guy was able to write these complicated harmony parts and teach his brothers and his cousin and shit, and they just make this unbelievable like sacred harp singing sound. And he said something about how he wanted to make like white sacred music, or like kind of there was an intent to make it like he wants to make people feel good. That's something that he says. He wants the music to like make people feel good, and like that's like healing in that regard, and it works. Like I don't know. I was playing some of those songs at open mic on Monday, and you think they're kind of cheesy when you're listening to them. You think like, God, Surfing USA, this is pretty fucking cheesy, or like Barbara Ann, this is kind of cheesy. I Get Around, this is kind of cheesy. But I'm telling you, like you play those songs in front of people, and like people just go fucking nuts. Like they just work. They're just well fucking made songs, and they make people happy. And so like, you know, in a certain way, Brian Wilson is almost like a Walt Disney figure or something for the idea of California. The Beach Boys sound, combining cars, women in their fucking swimsuits, the sun, surfing, all of the coast, this kind of like American graffiti culture, drag racing, but also health food, meditation, uh, Charles Manson, like putting all of that stuff into this sound. California Girls, it's like they conceptualized what it means, that whole place. He created this Disney like fantasy world. Like there's Epcot Center, there's Mickey Mouse, there's fucking Disneyland, but then there's fucking California and hitting the ocean, surfboard, fucking California Girls, whatever, Kokomo. Uh, as an artist, as an imaginative uh, world building, you know, and the effectiveness of that message is like crazy. It's kind of staggering, that one person could kind of crystallize this like permanent image of this place in everybody's heads about this is what it means to be California, or a certain angle on California or whatever. I think also part of what's interesting about it is the way that he was kind of eccentric, and there's like a surrealism. He puts his piano in his fucking sandbox, and he's in bed for 10 years. He said he really didn't leave his bedroom that much for 10 years. Or he opened a health food store. Like they said, he got really into fitness, so he took all the furniture out of his living room and put all these gym mats in his living room, these blue gym mats and shit. It's like, that's surrealism. That's just like Dali or something. Like Brian Wilson kind of had this, he was probably crazy. He was schizophrenic or something. Who knows? He heard voices. And it's amazing that he was able to harness them and put them into things that were understandable to other people. I mean, it does sound like some kind of angel fucking music. I was reading this Bell Hooks book at the library, and there was this epigraph from Emerson. I'm going to read this real fast. The angels are so enamored of the language that is spoken in heaven that they will not distort their lips with the hissing in unmusical dialects of men, but speak their own, whether there be any who understand it or not. So I'll read that one more time. The angels are so enamored of the language that is spoken in heaven that they will not distort their lips with the hissing and unmusical dialects of men, but speak their own, whether there be any who understand it or not. That's Emerson. The angels are so enamored of the language that is spoken in heaven. And that feels kind of like the Beach Boys to me. I don't know. It feels, or like, that's what I try to do in my poetry. I'm so enamored with the language that is spoken in heaven that they will not distort their lips with the hissing and unmusical dialects of men, but speak their own, whether they be any who understand it or not. And so I don't know. Beach Boys music has this like echolalia or something that feels kind of spooky, maybe kind of spirit in sense that like maybe it's in touch with the other side or something. But in this documentary, this Don Was documentary, Brian Wilson is very laid back. Well, they said that a lot of Cusack's performance was based on this documentary. And there's scenes in this fucking movie that are based on the scenes in this documentary. So I'm like, this fucking Cusack movie is just a remake of this Don Was documentary. So let me check out the Don Was documentary. It was cool. It moves really fast. There's a lot of great music in it. There's a lot of live stuff of Brian Wilson playing in the 90s before his like Smile Project band. And he sort of like, he did have this kind of like late career, they recorded his Smile masterpiece and went on tour with it. And he sort of got this kind of victory lap, which is good. That's so beautiful and well-deserved, He was on tour until like a couple of years ago. But half the fucking movie's about how he met his wife and how much he loves his wife, Melinda. So it's like you can tell he's really into his wife Melinda. She was kind of his rock, and I think she passed away a couple years ago. You can tell he really loved his wife Melinda. I mean, half his fucking biopic is like about him and his wife Melinda. So I don't know. I think he was after really interesting stuff. And I think he was a hip guy. I think he was like a sort of a beatnik guy or something. He was into that culture. He was turned on in that way. And I think he had an interest in being sort of like this avant-garde pop composer. But at the same time, you know, his legacy is sort of like in this weird kind of fragmented state. I mean, it's mighty. I mean, the Beach Boys catalog is huge. You know, they have a lot of fucking songs about cars and fucking the beach and stuff. But then they have all this weird shit about like being a cork on the ocean or Disney girls or Marcella, Ceylon Sailor, all of the fucking Airplane. My favorite is probably the Adult Child album, which is like a Sinatra tribute album about fucking playing baseball and not being lazy. So I don't know. I'm in the middle. There's an interview here with Elvis Costello and Brian Wilson. He's one of these people. He reminds me, there was a kid I was friends with growing up, this kid, Brian Dennis. And Brian Wilson has a similar kind of like unfiltered quality. He's got this kind of like childlike, like, you know, he says some things that like maybe are embarrassing that other people wouldn't say, but are like so just brazenly honest and like truthful and hilarious. And just sort of like there's this interview, like saying Norbit is your favorite fucking movie. He's like, it's the only movie I've seen. It's like, okay. Then there's this other interview. They're asking him something about what would you do if you could go back to this room or something. And he's like, I'd eat sandwiches. And it's like, I think about that all the time. Because it's like, it's so profound in a weird way. Like, because I'm eating sandwiches all the time. And I'm like, this is pretty great. I love eating sandwiches. He's right. I would eat sandwiches. There's something about sandwiches that is kind of perfect. They're like pop art or something. The way that a sandwich is like, I don't know. It's just kind of a perfect invention. It's kind of a perfect idea. It's like a pop song. It's about 2 or 3 minutes long. It's square. It's 4x4. It's got a bunch of, you know, it's got a chorus, a verse. It's all stacked in there. Maybe it's got a solo. It's got some bacon in there. Maybe a condiment. It's got a bunch of different flavors. You know, sandwich is a work of art. It's like a painting. It's probably got it's probably got cheese, tomato, lettuce, some kind of meat, maybe an avocado. Who knows? You can do all kinds of shit to a sandwich. That's part of the artistic. There's a million different ways to do a fucking sandwich. So you get all these different moods, like songs. There's a million different 3-minute immortal classics. They're cheap. Anybody can get a sandwich, probably. You know, you probably can get a sandwich, maybe. You know, if you get enough money together, it's like a working class lunch pail kind of food. But you can doll it up and get a good. To me, it's a bodega. I've been eating shitloads of sandwiches recently, so that Brian Wilson quote has really been resonating with me. About how he would eat sandwiches. He's right. Sandwiches are fantastic. Supposedly, his brothers had a deal with him where they would bring him hamburgers to write songs. They called them hamburger songs. If Brian wrote a song, they'd bring him a hamburger. I mean, that is amazing. You know, that's as eccentric as anything the Velvet Underground did. You know, he's kind of this California Gothic vampire or something. I don't know. The way he lived in his castle and his bed, with like a piano and a fucking sandbox. It's like, that's bohemian. So even though he's like West Coast and he's very much like an LA kind of like icon, I think he's as powerful enough of an artist that like he stands with anything in America. Brian Wilson stands with anything. He stands with Irving Berlin or fucking Bob Dylan or whatever the hell it is. George Gershwin, fucking Hopper, Warhol, whatever. But his story is like marred by this like weird commercialism by Mike Love. Stick to the formula, Brian. Don't fuck with the formula. Write more songs about the military industrial complex in the USA. Been looking through these books, Way West by Edward Dorn and The Common Shore by Robert Kelly. I mentioned them in my reading that nobody watched. I shared this fucking Instagram story about how people should check out my reading from last week. And literally nobody clicked it. Over 100 people saw it. Nobody clicked it. I got 0 views. So I don't know. Ashley is out at a reading right now. She's reading in some fucking place on Bowery downtown. And I don't know. We're talking about electoral politics. New York has shocked the world by electing a socialist mayor. Yes, this is what the people want, okay? We want free shit from the government. We want our needs to be met, okay? We need populism. And so who the hell knows what's going to happen? Okay, what do I need? Is New York going to become like a freedom city or whatever the hell they're calling them? They're just going to break the United States up into little digital fiefdoms. Privately governed. Privately. Okay, so what other fucking movies did I watch? Norbit, I don't know. I can't say I recommend it. It was okay. It was funny. I think I laughed a few times, but there's a lot of fat shaming in it. Trigger warning for Norbit. But I mean, it was funny to see Eddie Murphy play the different characters. That's the magic of it to me. The makeup is impressive. Okay, so my top 10 movies of the 21st century. Okay, here we go. What did I put? Well, the thing about the New York Times list is it doesn't have like every movie. It's like you got to pick sort of things that somebody already picked, or they don't have any info about it or the poster or anything. So there's a few things that I would pick that are not on the New York Times list. I would go with, Tenenbaums, definitely. I would pick a Sofia Coppola movie, maybe Marie Antoinette. I think in a certain way, Marie Antoinette is maybe like the most impressive or something. Like it's the biggest. It's got all these fucking production, all these extras, and it's a period piece. I haven't seen Little Women, or didn't she make some other period piece? I haven't seen that, but like it really takes you to this fucking place that's like, but it also has the 80s music and shit. It's got Gang of Four and New Order and shit. And I remember when that movie came out, and it really did feel like exciting culturally. The look of the film, the colors. Looking back on my list, it's like a lot of indie films from the 2000s. And, those were like maybe some of the towering artists of that era. Tarantino, Sofia Coppola, Wes Anderson, P.T. Anderson. Who else as we do the list? So, yeah, I would definitely pick Tenenbaums. A lot of people picked Grand Budapest Hotel. They're out of their fucking mind. Nobody picked French Dispatch. I would maybe go with Life Aquatic, but I think Tenenbaums is just like it's essential. You know, Life Aquatic has some parts that are a little more. And with Sofia Coppola, it's like it really could be any number of movies. It could be Virgin Suicides. It could be Lost in Translation. Could be Marie Antoinette. Could be Somewhere. Could be On the Rocks. It could be any of those movies. So depending what day or how cool I want to see him or whatever, I'd like to see On the Rocks again. But I was surprised how much I liked it. And I mean, most people would probably pick Lost in Translation, but I like Somewhere a lot. But I think Marie Antoinette might be the best movie. It's like the most ambitious movie or something, maybe. It's not just about people in a fucking hotel laying around, which I love, by the way. I think that's fantastic. 5 bags. It's a 5-bagger. What the hell else did I pick? I would pick a Terrence Malick film, maybe The New World, maybe Tree of Life, maybe Song to Song, maybe Knight of Cups, because I mean they're all amazing, and they're all amazing. To the Wonder was amazing. I think you might have to pick Tree of Life because it really changed movies in a way. It really kind of like forecast the whole digital filmmaking, steady cam, everything, life documentation. Tree of Life just said it like it really feel like it was 2001 or something. It was as close to that probably as we've had, maybe. But I think New World might be the best movie. New World is still a little bit like an old-fashioned Hollywood movie. It's not quite as revolutionary with the cinematography and shit. That was pre-digital. But I think it might be the best movie. We watched it again last year, and I was surprised. I saw it in the fucking theater, but I was surprised. I remember not liking it that much, but I was surprised how good it was. I haven't seen that many foreign films this millennium, or that were made this millennium. So it's like, I haven't seen any Agnes Varda films really. No, I haven't seen any of the fucking Eric Romer films probably since the 2000s. I've seen every goddamn Adam Sandler movie. There's certain things like The Clock. Like The Clock doesn't really count, even though it's technically a movie that was made, in the last fucking 20 years or whatever, 25 years. What the hell else? There's certain things like American Psycho, like I think it's a great movie, but I don't know. It's like when I'm looking at this list, it feels like people stop making like highbrow movies. Everything on the list is kind of like a middle brow or like high middle brow, like commercial indie film, like Lady Bird or fucking, I mean, even these Wes Anderson movies, it's not like there's some kind of super difficult Bergman film or something. It's not like some kind of super slow Tarkovsky movie or some shit. It's like, well, maybe I should get the list here. I think I've got it right here. Fuck, did I close it? Where's this goddamn New York Times movies thing? Let me just look at it real fast. They're releasing at 20. Oh, you bastards. Don't do this to me. Okay, hold on. There's this new website where you can look at anything behind a paywall for free. Archive.ph. It's incredible. It's changed my life. Okay, Superbad, number 100. Perfect example. I fucking hated Superbad. Just stupid as hell. I'm not even gonna read the bottom ones because I mean a lot of the foreign movies are like, I don't know, low. Fucking Almodovar. Okay, let's see. Almost Famous, 47. It's like that's kind of like a DVD middle brow. I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 44. Okay, I guess. Amelie, 41. Lady Bird, 39. Call Me by Your Name, 37. Didn't see it. Serious Man, didn't see it. Wall, 34. See, that's a good example. Like fucking Wally, like Pixar movie. I didn't see it. Maybe Bridesmaids 32. Like, is Bridesmaids really the fucking 32nd best movie made this fucking century? Like, Jesus Christ. The Dark Knight 28. Adaptation. Like, I liked adaptation, but it's not, it's not fucking Doctor Strangelove or something. I don't know. Grand Budapest Hotel 21, 22. Tenenbaums 21. Uh, what the hell else is on my list? Waking Life. I mean, there's a lot of Linklater movies you might pick, but I would go with Waking Life. Waking Life is, I don't know, it feels like genuinely an experiment in like a, I mean, I don't even know how you would make something like that feel, because within the context of like art house independent film, that felt like a pretty wild movie. It's like it doesn't have a plot. It's basically like a bunch of like monologues or like rants or like brief scenes, sort of like Slacker. It's like a collage of just these interactions, but it's anchored in this dream logic thing, and the animation, right, is what makes it like visually, it's basically a cartoon in a way. But it's like it's a concept. It's a high concept movie. It's an interesting fucking conceit. A lot of people pick Before Sunset or Sunrise or whatever the hell it is, and like that's fine. I get that. I think but it's like that's also kind of like, I don't know. Like Waking Life is a little more of a challenge, of a conceit or something. I feel like it's not. It's the whole movie is. It's not a pretense about a romance or something. Like Before Sunrise is like a conversation movie and like a speech movie, but it's a love story basically. It's romantic. It's like a romantasy. They're in these exotic places. They're flirting. They're falling in love. It's the ultimate like edging over the decades of two people who are just destined. It's about destiny, I guess, and kind of like the magic and the mystery of life, the enigma of fate. And but I don't know. And Boyhood, obviously, Boyhood is another one that like clearly was just like a kind of a milestone in fucking movie history. But I got to go with Waking Life. With part of the thing with my list is I wanted to do fucking movies that like weren't like this, that just other people had picked. Like everybody picked fucking Lost in Translation or fucking Yorgos Lanthimos, Borat, number 53. Pan's Labyrinth, didn't see it. Inception, 55. I haven't seen really any of the more recent Nolan shit. Best in Show, 57th. Uncut Gems, 58. Like, I guess. I think Uncut Gems, I don't know, it's a little overrated. Whiplash, 60. I didn't see Whiplash. Kill Bill. Is Whiplash better than Kill Bill? I mean, Memento is pretty incredible, 62. Little Miss Sunshine. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is like a fake art movie. Like Little Miss Sunshine is like a corporate, and it feels like a lot of this stuff. Maybe that's just the world we live in, I guess. But where's all the mumblecore on the list? I would pick films like my friends had made. My friend Brad Boris made this movie. I forget what it was called in 2010. It was a pretty fucking good movie. I don't know if it ever got released anywhere. I don't even know if it's probably just on a hard drive somewhere. It's a pretty good fucking movie. Oh yeah, Last Days, Gus Van Sant. I gotta pick I don't want to pick any of the same movies Alex Dimitrov picked. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. What the hell else? I don't know. Does it even matter? Well, no, it doesn't matter. What else do we want to talk about? Jesus Christ. Gotta do 2 hours. I'm losing viewers. Somehow I had a lot of viewers. I don't know how the fuck that happened. At some point I had like 13 or 18 people. Not that they stayed around, but that was kind of a surprise. Of where the fuck was that all coming from? Is that the sleeper cells? Oh yeah. Ashley was telling me about Young Lean today. I forget how that came up. Young Lean. We're listening to some of his lyrics. Oh yeah. I also So we also the last movie I watched today was the Jerky Boys movie. Because I don't know. I mean, I think like there is entertainment value for like somebody like Ashley's generation to see these movies that are sort of made before cancel culture, where it's just like the sense of humor is just like crazy. Eddie Murphy's literally in yellow face playing a Chinese man. Like, like it's a character in the fucking movie. And this other movie, this Johnny Knoxville movie, it's like he doesn't really go hard on like playing retarded, but the premise of the movie, it's actually a pretty progressive movie, I would say, because a lot of the characters are mentally challenged, and like they're in the movie. They're a big part of the movie, and it's sensitive. They're portrayed in a way, they're very astute. They're smart characters. And so I didn't think it was like an offensive movie, but you can tell the conceit of it, I mean, is just so kind of politically incorrect that it's a wonder that it ever got made. And it's sort of like, I mean, I don't think they distribute it, or it's hard to find or something. The Ringer. Brian Cox is in it. He goes all in. He's like great in it. He's hilarious, of course. Because it's all about, I don't know, his character anyway is despicable. They have to justify it. Like Johnny Knoxville's trying to save this guy's hand and shit. They have to make it like he has super good motivation for doing this. He's doing it for a good cause. He's faking mentally challenged. So I don't know. It wasn't really that tasteless. It could have been a lot worse. If it was made 10 years earlier, it probably would have been a lot worse. So then I'm like, well, I got to see the Jerky Boys movie. The Jerky Boys movie has got to be, because all these comedies kind of fit into the Jerky Boys movie and Dirty Work and these Eddie Murphy movies and these Rob Schneider movies and these Adam Sandler movies. It's like they're all kind of the same. They're really not, they don't. There's a love interest. There's a best friend. There's a villain. There's an older comedian. There's a whatever the fuck it is. It's like they're all kind of the same color scheme. They use kind of the same sets. They're all like very suburban feeling or something. I don't know. And so I'm like, okay, the Jerky Boys movie. That's like the offensive early 90s like shock humor. I remember the Jerky Boys when I was a kid. Back when prank calls were a thing. Back when people had a sense of humor and character, you'd prank call people. I was never that big of a prank call person. I was kind of scared, but John Ryan was really into prank calls. The Simpsons, right? They were prank calling people. Bart and Lisa were prank calling Moe's. So there was kind of prank calling culture back when people answered their phones. Back when the world was like decided through phone calls. Everything was phone calls. Uh, have we really advanced? Maybe we're further away from each other now. But in any case, now we're just live streaming instead of phone calls. So fucking what the hell was I talking about? Phone calls, calling people on the phone. Like, oh, what the hell was I saying? Give me a second, okay? I've just got a little bit of an ice cream headache. Take a sip, take a smoke, whatever, take a drink, do a shot. Do a shot every time Matt Proctor loses his train of thought. Jerky Boys, prank calls, of course. How could I forget? So anyway, my stepdad, Dave, he was the one that was into a lot of this shock jock. I don't know. Maybe he was a bad influence because I feel like I got a lot of like that kind of crude sense of humor. He was really into Two Live Crew, Dennis Leary, No Cure for Cancer. We heard that. He had a cassette, No Cure for Cancer, Dennis Leary. Him and Barnaby, they were both like white fraternity guys who went to like Ohio State. Barnaby's an accountant, Dave's a real estate broker. And they're listening to Two Live Crew, like laughing their ass off. The way it objectifies women but they were kind of, that generation had this kind of like National Lampoon, Animal House sense of humor. Everything was super satirical, sarcastic. Dan Aykroyd, Michael O'Donoghue, Doug Kinney, Bill Murray, they all thought they were fucking Letterman. They were all, but like, in the late 80s, early 90s, there was this shock. NWA, music suddenly was super intense, gangster rap, bad boy comedy shit, Howard Stern, Andrew Dice Clay, Sam Kinison. Some of Sam Kinison's routines are pretty offensive and pretty obscene. The language, the scenarios, they're homophobic. Andrew Dice Clay's shit is all super sexist but somehow all of that was like where it was at was like pushing the envelope, going further and further. Jerky Boys were sort of a part of that. They weren't really, like you don't really listen to Jerky Boys and you're like, fuck, this is, they're not calling people like, fags or, it's not like racist or homophobic or anything. It's more kind of like, it's just silly. And it's, I guess some of it is like the one guy does like an Indian voice. He's the Egyptian magician. He does Terrorist Pizza. Have people heard Terrorist Pizza? It's a great band name, Terrorist Pizza. Apparently, Radiohead got their Pablo Honey album title from Jerky Boys. The Jerky Boys have a track called Pablo Honey. So the Jerky Boys are influential. And to be honest, their movie was pretty fucking good. I don't know if people have seen the Jerky Boys movie, but that shit is still funny. I don't know if it's because it's prank calls. The guy is just, he has a character, even though they're prank calls, like the character the guy is doing is super vivid. The fucking Frank Rizzo. Get right where I said liver lips, sizzle chest. Give me a tank, I'll sell the fucking thing. He's always calling like, yeah, I'm calling about the contracting job. I'm calling about the paint job. Yeah, give me a fucking paint. Yeah, I'll paint it silly. I'm silly. I'll sell the fucking thing. I take this guy's face, I put it in the fucking hood. I said, you buy this fucking car. He's like, God, I don't know. They're always calling these like classified ads of like these weird businesses and shit. Yeah, I want to buy some tiles. I just bought some fucking tiles. They're all fucking broken and shit. Sizzle chest. We need you doing fucking backflips and shit, lighting yourself on fire, hanging off the balcony. It's about 4 stories up. It's I don't know. It's like the movie is surprisingly successful considering it's a fucking 90-minute comedy based on prank caller novelty album from the early 90s. I think it was super successful. It probably went fucking platinum or something, you know. We had Jerky Boys 1 and 2. It's funny, you know, like when it comes to comedy, it's like if the shit makes you laugh, it's like that's the whole point. It's like I think part of what makes it funny is how stupid it is. You know, like how kind of low rent and simple and cheesy these movies are. It's like that makes them funnier. We tried to watch Daddy Daycare. Daddy Daycare is stacked. The cast of Daddy Daycare, holy shit. It's like an auteurist connoisseur fucking lineup of like very high level comedians from the 90s. It's a mad world. It's like fucking Jonathan Katz is in it. Laura Keitlinger's in it. I don't remember who else. I mean, Jeff Garland's in it. I'm not the biggest Jeff Garland fan personally, but Jeff Garland is like the co-lead with Eddie Murphy somehow. Is JB Smoove in it? JB Smoove was in something we watched. Was he in? I think he was in Hall Pass. My life is just filled with watching the worst movies ever made. How did this happen? I don't know. I mean, the idea was like Brian Wilson was saying, where it's like his favorite movie is Norbit because he laughed his ass off, and it's like that's kind of like Buddha or something. Brian Wilson has this kind of Buddha quality where it's like, you know, if it makes you laugh, there. What did he say? He said something about there's different kinds of wisdom or different kind of spirituality, and like laughter is one way. And I mean, it's unfortunate how many of these movies are like racial and shit like that. Like, why does Eddie Murphy need to do Yellowface? Why is Big Stan? I mean, Rob Schneider, every movie he does a different fucking like offensive stereotype. So it's like it's so ghastly and unfunny that like it becomes funny because it's just so fucking inappropriate and stupid. That's how all this shit feels. Like, yeah, let's watch the fucking Jerky Boys movie. With Alan Art, the cast in that is unbelievable. Vincent Pastore, Big Pussy's in it. It's got a lot of Sopranos people. It's got the lady from Goodfellas, Karen's mom, I think is who it is. She's really good in it. She plays the Jerky Boys mom. The guy from Three's Company, not Don Knotts, the other guy, Mr. Roper, I think he's in it, whatever the fuck his name is. And the Jerky Boys are surprisingly good. They're surprisingly funny. It's not, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I've lost all sense. With these movies, it's just hard to tell. I can't even tell what's like a terrible movie anymore. Because movies where I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. Click, yeah, whatever. I mean, I didn't love Click, but it's not too often that I will see a movie and just be like, this is the biggest piece of shit. I hate this movie. Like, what have I really given that? Let me get my Letterboxd. If I'm going to do movie review shit, I might as well get my Letterboxd out, okay? Follow me on Letterboxd if you're watching, please. At Geets Romo. I need more Letterboxd friends. Geets Romo. Geetzromo. Yeah, let me see. Jerky Boys movie, 3.5 stars. I'm more interested in that kind of shit. I'm more interested in kind of like that Don Was documentary about Brian Wilson, just like the kind of made for TV shit, stuff that's just watchable. I'd rather see something watchable and interesting than like some super highbrow, like slow fucking. All right, let's see what I've got given the worst. Blockers, I did not like. Daddy Daughter Trip, I hated. Pearl Harbor, I hated. I Love You Man, I hated. The Hot Chick, 1 star. Boss Baby, 1 star. Big Stan, 1 star. Dinner in America, 1.5 star. Murder Mystery 2, 1.5 stars. Blended, 1.5 stars. I don't even remember that one. All these Adam Sandler movies kind of blend, they blur together at a certain point. Jack and Jill, 1.5 star. The Cobbler, 1.5 stars. Swing Vote, I hated. The Holdovers, I was not wild about. But, everything, Complete Unknown, 2 stars. Dune, 2 stars. Basketball Diaries, 2 stars. Grown Ups 2, 2 stars. I'm pretty generous, to be honest, with my star ratings. I give a lot of shitty movies 3 stars. Like, what did I give 3 stars? Adam Sandler's movie about the Bat Mitzvah, I gave 3 stars. I thought that was pretty good. I thought The Longest Yard was actually pretty good. Anger Management, 3 stars. Mr. Deeds, 3 stars. Funny People, 3 stars. I gave Babette's Feast 3 stars. I gave Babette's Feast the same rating that I gave Benchwarmers. I gave Benchwarmers 3 stars. I don't even remember seeing it. I feel like I'm just going to black out this era of my life. Just going to be like, ugh, remember the 3 years I spent watching the worst films ever made? Grandma's Boy, 3 stars. Reign Over Me, I liked, 3 stars. Whatever Works was surprisingly good. Larry David, I thought was pretty good in that Woody Allen movie. 1941, I thought was actually really good. I'd watch 1941 again in a second. Critics, well, part of my point with this is like critics are usually wrong. I don't know how these fucking movie critics got these jobs, but like there's these Adam Sandler movies are not that bad. There's a lot of good in these Adam Sandler movies. And these movies that get really panned, like Norbit. Norbit made Brian Wilson laugh, okay? That's all it needs to do. It's not meant to be Citizen Kane. It's meant to be like at best like Yes Man or something. I don't know. Big Mama's House. I gave The Ringer 3 stars. Sandy Wexler 3 stars. Private Parts. How did the Jerky Boys get a movie before Howard Stern? That's what I want to know. I'm pretty sure the Jerky Boys movie was made before Private Parts. They feel kind of similar. The Jerky Boys movie almost feels like it's about like a pre 9/11 New York. Like the Jerky Boys, a part that I feel like that could only be like East Coast. That guy's voice, Sal Rosenthal, all over my assy lips, all over my chaps. I spilled hot wax all over my nipples. It's just silly. K9, Jim Belushi, 3 stars. The Out of Towners, 3 stars. Blood and Wine, 3 stars. I don't know. I don't know. I just give everything 3 stars. It's kind of lazy, I guess. But, I mean, I generally will give a movie 3 stars if it's like good. If it's just not like bad. If it does something extra well, I'll be like, okay, that's 3.5 stars. Like I almost wanted to give the Brian Wilson movie 3.5 stars because not that anybody gives a fuck about this at all. Like, does anybody care about this? I'm sure they don't. But there were things about it that I thought were worth seeing. Like the scenes where they were in the fucking recording studio doing Pet Sounds with all the instruments and shit. It was pretty cool the way that they took the care to recreate that stuff and get the period right. And like I said, I thought John Cusack's performance was actually pretty good. Like it was, but I don't know. It wasn't that fucking great. It was still just kind of a generic music biopic, kissing his ass. You could tell it had been kind of sanitized, or like it was about his relationship with his wife in a way that's like, well, I don't know. They could have made it about how he was in bed for 10 years. That might have been interesting. playing in a fucking sandbox. That might look, I don't know. We're learning. It's educational, Uh, a lot of people put Inland Empire and Mulholland Drive on their list, which is understandable. I didn't have any David Lynch films on my list. I mean, I saw Inland Empire and Mulholland Drive. They didn't really, I mean, they're amazing. I'd like to see them in a theater or at least like on a big screen on a projector or something. But they didn't really speak to me as much as Blue Velvet or Eraserhead or I don't know. I'd have to see it again. I mean, I'm sure based on just like the quality of the films that are even on the fucking list, like they definitely deserve to be in the top 10 best movies made this century. Like I'm saying, I don't know. There is something, the stature of like movies is sort of like being reduced. And that includes like the cinematic filmmakers. Like I've never seen a Yorgos Lanthimos film or a fucking who's the guy Guillermo del Toro film. I mean, Yorgos Lanthimos in particular just seems kind of like fake interesting. Fake like symbolism, fake avant-garde. Let's get Emma Stone to just be like crazy. Throw Willem Dafoe in there. Throw in some kind of weird fucking people who are like animals or something. I don't even know. I've not seen any of it. Some of this shit, Damien Chazelle or whatever. It's like, give me a break. Whiplash, like I don't fucking think so. I haven't seen Lady Bird. I don't. I mean, I didn't put a Noah Baumbach film on my list. I don't think he's in the top 10 of this century. If I did, I might pick Greenberg. Or I might pick Francis Ha. I haven't seen fucking Lady Bird, but I can't imagine it's better than Francis Ha. It seems like it's kind of like a Greta Gerwig's version. I haven't seen it. I think I may have put Spring Breakers on my list just because it's like, I don't know. I appreciate that at least like Harmony Korine is trying to do like a big cinema thing. And I mean, I do think Spring Breakers in a weird way it had a lot of cultural influence. Sort of after the fact. It wasn't like this big splash in the theaters, but like the style of that movie, and it's only kind of like appreciated. The culture's only become more like that. That movie was made before Trump and before, I don't know, Ron DeSantis and COVID and but it kind of has all the DNA of that stuff. Harmony Korine says he fucks with who was it? Get some fucking I don't know. It's on my goddamn playlist. I can't look it up right now. Should I read some fucking poetry or what, everybody? I know people are stoked with my poetry readings. I know Bruce Halliday is stoked on my guitar live performances that I live stream. I mean, it's it's to the point that like, why not? If you've got the ability to put new content that nobody wants to see up 3 or 4 nights a week, why not take that opportunity? Hey, I mean, people didn't like Pet Sounds either. Okay, Mike Love didn't like Pet Sounds either. He said, "Don't fuck with the formula, Brian." Go back to the formula, Brian. I don't know. I don't feel like reading. I don't want to read anything. I want to talk about the worst movies ever made. It's like eating bad food. I don't know. Is this teaching me something? I feel like I'm going to like the world's longest film school. And there's still a million movies to watch. There's still a million things that I haven't seen on my watch list. Let me pick some choice. See, like Nixon, 3.5 stars. Mixed Nuts, I thought was interesting, 3.5 stars. Spanish Prisoner, 3.5 stars. Bright Lights, Big City. Like Bright Lights, Big City, it wasn't like the most interesting movie ever made, but like for a movie based on a book that was basically just kind of like a studio movie, the music, the look of it, I liked it. I liked what it was about. I liked that Jason Robards, there was a little something extra. It wasn't just like this generic, you know, uh, phoning it in kind of like it had a little bit of a signature. It's generally like the more distinct movies get, the higher the rating. Something like Vanilla Sky, Step Brothers, True Romance. These are all 4 stars. Ed Wood, Blow Up, 4 stars. The Straight Story, 4 stars. Sideways, 4 stars. Happiness, 4 stars. The Warriors. I mean, these are movies that like you gotta, these are classics. Cruising, 4 stars. The Verdict. It's like these are movies that like you can't go wrong seeing. Like if you see these movies, they'll be worth your time. They're entertaining, but they're like about something. Patton, Copland, Dick Tracy, Polyester, 4 stars. American Splendor, Bob Dylan, Don't Look Back, Shampoo, The Decameron, Lost in America. These are all four baggers. Cotton Club, Adult World, 4 stars, obviously. I had Ned Rifle on my list. I had to choose a Hal Hartley. You got to pick a Hal. I mean, it's got to be Ned Rifle. And I wanted to pick a Henry Yaglom film as well. I wasn't sure if I'd seen any of his made since the 2000s. The Henry Yaglom films, I don't know. They're all very naturalistic. There's kind of an ease, but also like an interest in the people and the characters. There's kind of a Chekhov quality. They're just hanging out or something. They're all in a house. We started to watch the movie Grand Canyon. Lawrence Kasdan, Steve Martin has a beard in it. Steve Martin has a white beard. It starts off with like probably the most racist scene. As Kevin Kline is driving home from the Laker game. So the movie starts off with all these shots of like Magic Johnson and all the players and shit. And then so Kevin Kline is driving. He's whitey. He's driving home from the Laker game through like a bad neighborhood in like inner city LA in the fucking riot, like Rodney King era, 90s. Like Compton or whatever, Crenshaw. I don't even know where the fuck he is. Someplace that like Whitey is not really. At least that's what the whole fucking scene is about. His car breaks down, and these black guys in a fucking car like pull up on him and like surround him and shit. And so the whole scene is about how these black guys are scary, and he's this white guy in the ghetto. And then Danny Glover pulls up. Danny Glover's the fucking tow truck driver, and he's black, so it's like, okay, he can save this white guy. They'll listen to him. It's just ridiculous. It's insane. The whole fucking scene is crazy. But I'm interested in this film because it's like this big. In the 90s, there were these movies that were kind of these big, like LA panorama, like 2 Days in the Valley. Pulp Fiction is one of them, completely. I mean, a lot of them were Pulp Fiction ripoffs. But this movie, I think, was before Pulp Fiction. What the hell was I talking about? uh, Grand Canyon. And we didn't, I mean, Ashley didn't want to watch it, so we changed it to the movie where Johnny Knoxville plays a retard. A bit lighter fare. We couldn't watch Grand Canyon. It was a little too, it was too hard hitting. And I mean, it was kind of nuts, to be honest. But I'm interested. What's this movie where Steve Martin's got a beard and he's like playing like a serious? I wanted to pick an Edward Burns film for my list. I couldn't really remember which one was the best. Uh, Bad Lieutenant, 4.5 stars. Killing a Chinese Bookie. These are like really good movies, but like maybe not like the greatest movies ever made. 5 stars. It's like these are the greatest movies ever fucking made. Megalopolis, Tree of Life, The Apartment, Breathless, 400 Blows, Dumb and Dumber, City Lights, all that jazz. My Dinner with Andre, Spaceballs, Wayne's World, 5 stars, of course. Jules et Jim, Masculine Feminine, Touch of Evil, King of New York, 5 stars. Amarcord, 5 stars. Pee Wee, 5 stars. American Friend, 5 stars. Love Streams, 5 stars. Shadows, 5 stars. Shoot the Piano Player, 5 stars. About Schmidt, I think I had About Schmidt on my list. I love About Schmidt, even though I feel like Alexander Payne hasn't necessarily panned out as a filmmaker. Like, About Schmidt, I still think is like I said, I don't really like the holdovers that much. And everybody loves fucking Sideways, but Sideways is okay. To me, About Schmidt is sad. Sideways, not really. I mean, these characters are just pathetic. You kind of just laugh at them. You're like, they're just, they're shitty lives. About Schmidt is like a fucking tearjerker. About these old people and retiring. Ishtar, 5 stars, of course. LA Story, Talk Radio, Clifford, 5 stars. Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, Casanova, Fellini. Vanya on 42nd Street, They All Laughed. Oh, I gave Harry and Tonto 5 stars. That's crazy. Ronaldo and Clara, 5 stars. I don't know. So I don't know. There's no mumblecore films on the list. I'm kind of surprised by that. You'd think there'd be more mumblecore. I never really saw any of those mumblecore films, but like it seemed like an interesting way for movies to go in this country. That was sort of like what supplanted indie film, when indie film sort of went Hollywood, or indie film became like huge because of DVD, whatever. Like mumblecore felt like this kind of like DIY zine fucking cinema or something. I didn't, like I said, I never saw really any of those movies very much, but I like the idea of it. You couldn't find them when it came out, like in 2009 when I first heard the term mumblecore. It was still hard to like, you still had to get physical DVDs from Netflix or get it at the library or something. There wasn't just like every movie ever fucking made instantly on some pirate website or something. I mean, that's one of the reasons for this is it's like you almost have this limitless supply of abundance where it's just like, a lot of the films I picked for this goddamn list were from, like, I realized from like 2000 to 2010 or something, because like that's when I watched a lot of movies, I guess, or was like more serious about it. But it's kind of just like a crazy opportunity to just be able to watch any goddamn thing you can think of instantly. Be like, yeah, I'll watch the fucking Jerky Boys movie. Finally, let me just see it. My whole life I've known of the existence of the Jerky Boys movie. I'm a Jerky Boys fan. They're a big part of my life, and they're legitimately funny. I don't know why that shit's funny. Like I said, they're not really that offensive. You don't listen to Jerky Boys and you're like, oh my God, like, they're not just making fun of like a lot of that humor from the early 90s. A lot of that is just like, oh, they're making fun of gay people or something. It's like Jerky Boys, I don't know. They do have some kind of weird talent as actors. I went on the guy's website and it's like they're genius for like improvisational humor and like conversational. It's like, wow, okay. I guess they're right. Yeah. The Jerky Boys are this kind of like incredible comedy fucking masterpiece, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. And now I've seen their movie. They filmed it on fucking Fresh Pond Road. I'm watching the movie. I'm like, fuck, I used to live there. I used to live where the fucking Jerky Boys live. Because, in Columbus, Ohio in the 90s, when this movie comes out, your only concept of New York is like, wow, these guys live in like some dump, like, mafia, New York, whatever the hellhole city. And then fast forward to 20 years later, it's like, oh my God, I live in the same fucking neighborhood as the fucking Jerky Boys. I've gentrified the Jerky Boys out of there. That's the plot of the movie, right? It's like this Irish guy's got this bar that they're going to tear down to like build developments. There's real estate developers. And the Jerky Boys are like trying to stop it or whatever. They're trying to stop the white gentrifier trust fund kids. But they lost, okay? The Jerky Boys lost. I'm sorry. They couldn't save the world with their prank phone calls. The whole movie is like writing them into situations where they can use their voices to like get them out of trouble. Like they're in a bathroom stall and they start to pretend. Well, I guess they do start to pretend that they're gay. That maybe is homophobic. They like scare the guys away by, oh my God, that sounds so gay. We can't look in there. So I guess it is homophobic, hateful. It's hate speech comedy. Who knows? But I don't know. It felt like it could have been. I wasn't like shocked at how offensive it was. It was, and it's a time capsule of New York. At that, I think they said they shot it in 1993. So like I said, they showed Fresh Pond Road. It's a subway stop the Jerky Boys live off of. They're low lives in Queens. They live off. They keep talking about Ditmars Boulevard. Brett Weir. They write Brett Weir. They like write characters from their prank phone calls into the movie as like characters. Like Brett Weir is a character in the Jerky Boys. It's like, and then they write like bits from the phone calls into the movie as like dialogue. It's like I'm amazed this works as well as it does. Like I said, maybe I've just lost all sense of like what's good and what's bad, or maybe I never had that sense to begin with. But I totally had suspension of disbelief during the Jerky Boys movie. There was no problem for me at all to totally buy Johnny B and Kamal. I mean, Kamal is clearly the less talented actor. Johnny B kind of carries the movie. Kamal feels like kind of like nervous. Watch it. You'll know what I'm talking about. Watch the Jerky Boys movie. Do yourself a favor. It's not what there's definitely worse films that I've seen. There's movies that have been a bigger waste of time. Any of these stupid animated films, any kind of like stupid CGI animated film with like Steve Carell or Ben Stiller or any of that shit from like any animated film with Seth Rogen, that shit is 100 times worse than the Jerky Boys movie. The Jerky Boys movie just makes me laugh thinking about it. It's just such an insane thing. Like what? I guess I guess the modern world is like almost like an equivalent of that because it's like everybody's kind of the Jerky Boys now. The Jerky Boys kind of went viral. They were really just guys, and their album like became sort of famous, but they were never really like that famous, and their careers didn't last that long. But they sort of cracked the code on a certain thing. I mean, did anybody have a prank call album that's successful ever? Other than like maybe Crank Yankers was a show on Comedy Channel that was like all prank calls. But that was like professional comedians and shit. And I never watched it. And then of course the Tube Bar tapes. I don't know if people know about the Tube Bar tapes. The Tube Bar tapes might be funnier than the Jerky Boys, but it's kind of a different thing. The Tube Bar tapes are way more about pissing that guy off. That guy just sounds like the Tube Bar just sounds like hell. It sounds like Taxi Driver, just like the bar from fucking, that you just like don't want to be in near the Port Authority or something in 1973 or something. Billy Bats got ice picked there or whatever. The Tube Bar. It just sounds like the dirtiest scum hole on earth. And that guy Red, his voice, Jesus Christ. He sounds like a demon. And so it's more about pissing that guy off and getting him just to say insane shit. And just, I mean, those guys really do say crazy shit to him about how they fuck his mother and all this stuff. Jerky Boys are more nuanced. The Jerky Boys is more kind of character driven. They have these kind of characters. I have these hemorrhoids on my ass. And they really try to take the skit, as far as they can. And that guy, I don't know, he does have kind of a genius for like coming up with these weird. We're going to get a tennis ball machine and we're going to put boiled potatoes in it. And we're going to fire it at him. There's certain phrases from Jerky Boys that just like will always stay with you. I was listening to it today. It's like music. You're like, oh my God, I remember every fucking note of this. Fucking Jerky Boys fucking skit. Uncle Freddy died? Uncle Freddy didn't die. No, oh no. Terrorist Pizza. We thought Terrorist Pizza was like the funniest fucking thing when we were 16 years old. I'm going to bomb that place. The more innocent days before 9/11. You could laugh about Terrorist Pizza. Then Bin Laden came along and suddenly no one was laughing anymore. We're in a forever war with Terrorist Pizza. But everything kind of became more about terrorism and more about pizza. I mean, millennials love fucking pizza. And terrorism was like formative. I mean, all of the indie sleaze era, all of the 2000s. There was a corresponding like Bush. Bush was the president through all of that shit. All of the meet me in the bathroom type shit. W in the chat. I'm standing on business, okay? It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you, is it? That I'm standing on business. Okay, do we need to talk more about Zorhan? I don't know when Ashley's, she says she's going to come back at a certain time. I'm just left waiting at home. Just live casting into the night like Delilah in my room. Yeah, so we're trying to stay innovative, trying to stay on top of, I don't know. I mean, consuming all this pop culture for me is like some kind of frustrating attempt to like understand other people. Like, what do other people like? What do they listen to? There seems to be some kind of like group consensus about what is cool or what is valuable or what everybody is like. Apparently, Bridesmaids is the 29th best fucking film of this millennium. I haven't seen it, but like, is it better than Wedding Crashers, or is it? I mean, is it different than Wedding Crashers? Let's say. I mean, it might be a female version of Wedding Crashers might be a lot smarter, and I'd like to watch it. I'm sure Ashley would never watch it. I'd love to see Bridesmaids. John Hamm's in it, but 29th best film of the fucking whole, all of them ever made in the last 26 years. Jesus fucking Christ. I gotta pick Gangs of New York, I think. I think Gangs of New York is kind of underrated in a crazy way. That movie's an epic. And the way that they made it, the production on that film, creating the 5 points, all of the fucking world, detail of that, the budget, that's about as big budget of like an art film as you're ever gonna get. Like that's as good, and the characters and shit are super memorable. It's a classic, I think. Even though it's sort of an imperfect film, I think that's part of what makes it great. Scorsese's like that. I mean, not every movie is Goodfellas. Not every movie is like Raging Bull or Taxi Driver, where it's like kind of perfect. There's some of them that are a little more like The Aviator or even The Departed. I mean, The Departed is pretty high on this list. I like The Departed. I'd like to see it again, I guess. It was big when I was in college. That movie came out when I was in fucking college, and like it kind of reverberated through the whole era. And in a certain way, it didn't feel as good as Goodfellas, but it felt like that era. It felt like post 9/11. It felt a little bit more moribund. It felt like the world had kind of changed. Things were a little bit more strict or humorless or gray, little less rosy, a little less magic. It's got that kind of post-millennium blandness, but it's also big. It's got DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Nicholson, Martin Sheen, and so you gotta love it, even if it's not necessarily, I don't know, maybe it is a fucking as good as any of those movies, actually, in its own way. I haven't seen it in a long enough time to, I'd have to watch it again, dude. My now that I'm older, things that didn't necessarily appeal to me when I was younger, like P.T. Anderson was something I really did not. I was not that. I didn't. I thought he was good and even great, but I didn't really get excited about it. I wasn't like, oh man, I can't. There Will Be Blood. Like I'm fucking obsessed with this movie. Like I saw it once and I was like, it's kind of boring. But now that I'm older, I'm like, I kind of understand what makes him interesting, uh, and the skill involved. The writing, I get the writing a little more. Wes Anderson stuff is a little more emphatic. It's sort of the simple childlike, escapist. It's like going into an illustrated children's book or a pop-up book or something. Whereas P.T. Anderson is like, uh, it's not quite relying on that kind of, like there's a style, but it's more kind of buried. It's not like this pronounced production design. I started to watch Phantom Thread. I thought Phantom Thread was very interesting. Ashley wouldn't watch that, so I shouldn't keep mentioning that. That's kind of a boring, recurring detail, I guess. That's okay. So now everybody's tuned out, I guess. I've been just blathering on about movies forever. What the hell else is there? Is this relatable? I feel like this is maybe universally relatable. I've got to open up the chat at some point, but it's sort of a diplomatic ceasefire. We've got a ceasefire on the chat for the time being. And I don't know, as we move into more of a visual, everything is video now. Fucking text messages to your friends are video. Ashley's been showing me these goddamn AI slop videos. They're AI generated videos of cats, but they're crazy because they're sort of like this vertical format narrative content where it's like they're almost like movies. Even though they only last 30 seconds, they've got all these plot points where it's like the cat is like, I don't even know. The cat's big, and then the cat's fat, and then the cat throws up, and then the cat like kills the other cat. It's like a whole fucking Kill Bill of fucking like plot points, and it's animated in this kind of like perverse, scary AI. It looks like It looks like I guess almost like a CGI children's book or something. It sort of looks animated. It sort of looks like uh and the AI just cranks this shit out. I guess it probably made it, I don't even know, in 30 seconds or something. But it's got like all of the narrative of like these 90-minute long films, but it kind of crunches it down because the story just jerks you to all these kind of like extremes with the cats. Oh god, I don't even know. Because they're grotesque. AI's got this weird kind of like sense of humor and this weird kind of like it's unsettling. There's kind of like these tantrum. Everything that AI does feels almost like a tantrum or something, or like a little kid that's not getting its way or has no sense of like manners or politeness, how to do anything. AI is just like stamping its foot and making fun of you, laughing at you, disobeying, coming up with these like really disturbing fucking videos that you're like, why did you make this? You put this weird music to it. Like, why is AI like this scary, unsettling fucking like juxtaposition of different imagery and shit? Why isn't it like peaceful? Why isn't it like some kind of higher, more proficient, more uh accomplished, more talented? Why isn't the AI more talented than us? Why are we not hearing this AI music and being like, oh my God, that's the most brilliant music. That's the most beautiful music I've ever heard. And it's like, sounds like future, or sounds like, what the future should sound like. It's some sound we've never heard before. How did the AI do that? Everything that I've seen just looks like some kind of weird incest baby or something. I guess because it's the result of like copying. Like if AI is just like riffing on existing intellectual property, that is sort of like incest. It's sort of just like reproducing in the same gene pool or something. I'm just gonna keep doing this until Ashley comes back, I guess. I mean, she said she'd be back at 10:30. Shit, I don't think she's texted or anything. And I know. Well, I don't even know how I got all those viewers. Who the fuck knows? How did I get fucking 13 people watching this at some point? The weather's pretty nice out in New York. I mean, it's been really hot, but uh, tonight it's chilly, kind of. That's why I came back. I was gonna do this outside. I thought, oh, it's supposed to be 73. I'm like, it'll be a nice day. Let me do my live stream in the park. I'll have a whole day in the park. Blah blah blah. Get out of the screening room here, but it was chilly out there, and oh shit. Oh my god. Nice, Jeff Bell. Okay. So she's not going to be back for a little while. Okay, so she must be watching this. Or she's one of the people that are watching this. She said she's getting a drink with her friends, but she'll let me know when she's coming back. Well, shit, maybe I will read some goddamn poetry.
This is he knows that this movie gold. How old are you?
Okay. Well, we're going to continue to bring value to the viewer here and try to get our hours up for some fucking reason. Not that it matters. I mean, it's just the gamification of whatever the hell this is, whatever you want to call this. YouTube gives me these statistics like my viewing hours are like way down, like 60 hours less. I'm getting view time. I feel like something's changed in the algorithm over the last month. I'm getting way less story views on my Instagram stories and blah blah blah. And to some degree with this, maybe people are out doing shit. But I just had 13 people watching this some fucking how. I mean, who knows how the hell this works? I guess I should try to actually come up with some kind of interesting interface for this, but it's like I'm not going to make money either way, and I mean, I'd like to have a bunch of people watch this. Uh, but it's also like uh, I try to do it whenever I can. I don't. Do I even have anything? There's so much to talk about. I just am getting around to it here. I vaporized my mind with these terrible movies, so now that's all I have to say is, have you seen The Ringer with Johnny Depp? I mean, that's what I was talking about with Eileen Miles. Is like these goddamn movies. The open mic on Monday was a lot of fun. We've been lucky this month. I think it's a recession indicator. I think a lot of people are staying in the city because they're broke, or after the last couple of years, I think people wanted to get out after the pandemic. People came back to the city, but when the weather got nice, it's like they were wanting to travel after being locked up during the pandemic. They wanted to be back in New York because they love New York. They identify with New York as being like their home. But I also think they want to travel. They want to go to Europe, blah, 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 wherever. This year, it feels more like, I don't know, it feels more like people are staying for some reason. Maybe it's because Trump and the international traveling and visas and the border and shit. They'll look at your nudes, they'll go through your phone. So maybe a lot of people are staying because of that. I don't know, but we've had better attendance this summer than we've ever had. In June anyway. June it usually quickly drops off. And then, it's okay. It's never like dead, but there's usually a marked difference between like April and June. Whereas like this year we've been kind of, it's never not busy, to be honest. There's never really an off season for this. Even over the holidays, it's like people still come in. We'll still get 30 people that want to come in and sign up and whatnot. And, I think also the political thing makes people want to be out. People want to be with each other. We don't know what the hell's going to happen. We want to, and there is strength and peace and comfort in going to a familiar place. That's part of my intention is I want it to be consistent. I want it to be like reliable where, no matter like the talk shows, right? On fucking TV where it's like, no matter what, those were after fucking 9/11, that's like the first shit you remember. It's like Daily Show coming back, Letterman coming back, Leno coming back, Saturday Night Live coming back. Those were the people that like went back to work or whatever the fuck, But I think more than that, just like as a community, as people, as social animals, it's important for us to have these places in person where it's like, yes, I know every Monday I can go to this. It's going to be this thing, It's going to be fun. It's going to be warm. It's going to be supportive. It's going to be enchanting. It's going to be entertaining, hopefully. And a great place to meet people. Great place to make friends. And, one thing that does piss me off is a lot of people are not sharing posts from KGB. I see people, they're sharing stuff at fucking Soho Playhouse or fucking Brooklyn Music Kitchen or fucking Pete's Candy Store or whatever under St. Mark's. Share some fucking shit from KGB. Please. It's just nice. I know, well, they're playing, and they're sharing these clips from all these other places. It's like, come on. I don't know. It's part of I don't know. The culture is woven together in this interesting way through social media, through posts, through those networks, which are digital but also very kind of pronounced and like lineated through follows and whatever. But it's also something that just happens where you meet people there and you know them in person. It's a great way to make friends. It's a great way to meet people. If you're having trouble meeting people, it's just a great way because you have something to approach somebody with. You see them perform. You can say, "Oh, I liked your song," or this. You can make a remark about it. You can start a conversation, right? Even if you're not performing, it gives you a reason to talk to somebody. And so, I don't know. I'd like to believe those kind of things will endure. And I mean, particularly in New York, part of what I wanted to talk about maybe was like what is it that characterizes like a Zorhan voter, and not that it's unique to New York. The squad, right, is like from Detroit or Michigan. There's different districts from the whole, maybe not everywhere, but it's like uh it's populist. There is a but it's also like I don't know. The Zorhan thing went viral in a way that was like maybe not unexpected because they people talk about him the way they kind of talk about Bernie, which is like I'm not going to say that he's pandering. I think he believes in his policies are what he's going to do, but like it's also like you know it doesn't not that it'd be easy, but like it's like all you got to do to make the left go nuts for you is throw them these kind of like promises or whatever. All you have to do is say you're going to have same shit that Bernie promised, or healthcare, rent control, 30-hour $30 minimum wage, free buses, like who I mean, especially for like leftist people or whatever, it's like, of course they're going to go fucking crazy for that shit. Um, like, why wouldn't they? That all sounds great, I guess. And I do think there is like a knee jerk reaction amongst, traditional liberal or like more establishment, like Cuomo people, or like, like with Zorhan, where it's just like, well, we don't like this because it's different. It's like this is kind of the split in the Democratic Party where there's like this kind of young, sexy side where it's like Bernie people, Democratic socialists, woke people. It's like these are the people that live in the cities, like women, artists, queer people. Like that sort of coalition of like leftists who became politicized during the first Trump era, and they're socialists. They want free healthcare, or they want universal healthcare. They want any mass transit, rails, free buses, universal basic income. They want DEI, quote unquote. They want a free Palestine, right? Like that's the newest fucking thing. That's the newest kind of like split in the Democratic Party, where it's like, well, you're either Kamala supporting genocidal Palestinian hater, or you're a Bernie leftist Zorhan free Palestine. So it's like you got to pick. You got to pick sides here. You can't do both. You can't be for Cuomo or Eric Adams and uh, a left person. Like fuck that. We will not vote for those people. We won't vote for Kamala. We won't vote for Cuomo. Uh and I think it is important that like people flex their power and show that there is an alternative voice. But I do think to some degree this is like the product of like educated, uh successful progressive, I don't know, like there is a condensation of those type of people in New York now that are also politically engaged. But it's like, the Zorhan thing caught on like this viral, I don't know, trend or something. It caught on like Labubu or something. Suddenly it was like Imrata is like with fucking Zorhan and doing a TikTok, and everybody's talking about how handsome and charismatic he is, and the media is sort of fawning. People are gushing about this guy. That I'm not really comfortable with, or I don't know. It's just like, I guess that's a part of politics. Maybe people did that with JFK or Clinton, or I don't even know. Bernie. I mean, especially I don't. So it's like hot chicks for Zorhan, and not that that's not great or anything, but it's like, most of this country is not hot, smart women, or the people who live in New York have kind of consolidated here, almost like against, or I don't know, like the rest of the country is so fucking nuts and like MAGA and this and that. It's like, I mean, especially in Brooklyn, it is like, it's leftist, right? Like it's a pronounced, and that's good. Thank God. That's why we live here. But I don't know. I think there will be a reaction against it. I don't know. This could really break through and be a thing, but like, this guy's kind of flown under the radar. Like I said, this wasn't even the election. This was a primary. And now everybody knows who he is. And now there will be like people interested in not having this guy elected. People that do not want to get taxed more, people that are pro-Israel or whatever his fucking policies are. John Katzimatidis said he'd leave New York. All these people are saying they'll leave New York if this guy gets elected. The socialist mayor. Like, that's the worst fucking thing in the world. First of all, he's running as a Democrat. And, Lord knows that brand is toxic. And that's sort of the problem in the Democratic Party, right? It's like they won't get rid of the old. But the thing is, like, that it's almost like the Democratic Party is more effective at taking down the Democratic Party than they are taking down the right. They just let Trump get away with whatever the fuck he wants. But like, Al Franken, you've got to resign from the Senate because you're a fucking sexist and you're a sexual harasser and you're getting Me Too'd, for sort of like, I don't know if that was really completely warranted, but. And it's the same thing. I mean, the number one reason probably people didn't vote for Kamala was because of Bernie or Hillary, for that matter. They thought, well, they fucked over Bernie, so fuck that bitch. I'm not voting for her. And so it's like the Democrats do kind of have to wake up and just let the people decide. If they want Bernie, just run Bernie. And so the narrative that like the Democrats are trying to stop Bernie because they don't want a socialist, it's like, that may be true. That's bad. Like, Bernie should run anyway or something. Somebody's got to circumvent that. That's what these primaries and shit are about. Cuomo, in a way, sort of got primaried. They're going to primary Chuck Schumer. If that's the way that people want to go, then that's the way they should go. That's the way that their movement will catch on fire and people will get inspired again. Young people will see what they're doing and be like, oh, cool. Okay, great. We love fucking AOC and Zorhan and shit. We want to be at the fucking, victory party with all the other fucking Twitter superstars and all the other influencers and fucking FOMO people that just want to be at the center of culture, center of the party, center of hotness, center of political righteousness, progressive, moralism, being, hard line about your beliefs and getting super excited about candidates who are able to create the idea that they're like that. You know, certain of these politicians, like Bernie, like AOC, like this guy, the leftists really think these people are like fighting for us. They believe the same things we believe. We will get, you know, they're excited to get behind them because it gives them hope, like somebody will get in the government and do socialism, do, you know, big programs and give us and make our lives easier, save us from getting ripped off by the fucking wealth inequality and privatization of everything and corporatization and blah blah blah. I guess maybe I'll go to 11 o'clock. I'll go to 11 o'clock. How do you say by that? So, on the one hand, it's kind of annoying. I don't really love all like the fawning and sort of like the the trendiness of it or like the buzz. Like, okay, now everybody's like psyched about this. Like, I had a couple of Zorhan posts for Easy Paradise. Those got more views than anything I posted recently. They got 500 views or almost 500 views. And because it's trending, because cool people in New York feel like they have to get on board with this now. And why not? You know, if we can put our shoulder into this and this is a pressure point where we can sort of like, you know, give the rest of the nation hope, or I don't know. Try to counteract and fight against the, you know, the shit that we see are the problem. Things like wealth inequality, things like cost of living crisis, housing shortage. This guy seems like he's going to address that stuff. Why not get behind that? Why not vote for the guy? You know, I'm not opposed to that stuff, but you know, I don't necessarily want to be that involved in politics if it doesn't affect my life. You know, it's like it's when people like Trump get elected or are threatening to get elected. That's when you start to become super obsessed with politics and talk about it all the time because like that's when it's like, oh fuck, it's going to come in and change all of our, you know, like now that Trump got reelected. I mean, am I wrong to say that it's affected all of our lives? I mean, now you can't travel the same way you could. Among other things, among many other things. Uh it's a privilege when you can just sort of like be like, oh, it doesn't affect me. I don't pay that much attention. I got a message the other day, and I don't know if it's real or not. It was supposedly from Medicaid, New York State of Health, which is, you know, I've gotten texts from them before. I'm pretty sure it's a real number saying my Medicaid has changed somehow because of national, federal, you know, I don't know if it's the big beautiful bill because I don't think that's passed yet, or like they're working it out or something. It's still like being tweaked or something. The big beautiful bill. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. But that might be why. That might be why my fucking Medicaid got all fucked up. Because of the big beautiful bill. Oops, your health insurance is canceled. Sorry. You're on your own. You're an able bodied 4-year old man. Go out and get a job. That's the deal you make in this country. You got to work to survive or just be rich. Take your pick. One or the other. And if you got to work to survive, it's like nearly impossible to even make ends meet. Everything is priced at like the absolute bare minimum and probably even less than that. Now it's like the wage you get paid has nothing to do with like cost of living or what you need to support yourself. It's like completely, I don't know how anybody is paying for anything because I'm actively looking for places to live on Facebook, Gypsy Housing, and it's literally $1,000 for a month for like a tiny room like the room I was in Park Slope, like a room you can't even fit. You can fit like a twin size mattress in, and that's it. There's not even room on either side. It's like, oh, that's $1,000 a month in Crown Heights. It's like, who is paying $1,000 a month to live in that tiny of a room? I don't even know who has that much money, but is willing to live in that poor of a circumstance. Like somebody with a full time job, like somebody whose parents are paying for it. Like I just can't even conceive of who that is. Like that's unthinkable to me. When I was the last year I was in the Sludge, I would like show people the rooms to rent, and we had big rooms with nice, like this room had a sink in it, had a closet, two windows, nice fucking cornice work, nice hardwood floors, and it was $13.50 a month. And I just thought, whoa, this is like ridiculous that anybody will pay $13.50 for like a single room. I don't care. Like this is a nice room. I had lived in that room. I paid $9.50. And even then it was like, whoa, this is as much as I can afford. Thank God I'm getting this huge room for $900 a month. It's like now that same room is probably $1,800 or $1,900 a month, because it's like you pay $1,300 just for like nothing, just for like some fucking like room that like is like a college person would live in. It's like this is not something an adult even lives in. Like this is like a small box with like renovated shitty floors and ugly everything, horrible central air and shit. $13.50 a month. It's like some of these rooms, like $2,000 a month for a room in Bed-Stuy. It's like with roommates, I'm going to pay $2,000 a month to live in Bed-Stuy. Like you got to be crazy. So I'm shooting for something in like the 800 to 900 range. I've seen some deals like I could do like $800 a month, but like that's crazy to me. People are paying $1,000 a month to live in like a servant's quarters, is what it is. That's what those rooms were made for. So Zorhan, get in there, fucking do something, please. Apparently, Elizabeth Street Garden is going to survive. I saw an article the other day about how they finally beat the affordable housing development. That is another thing that's like, it feels like these political causes where it's like a bunch of hot people go there. It's in Soho. It's this beautiful place. It's full of beautiful, like influencer, jet set, rich people. Like, good for them for being like passionate about it. But like, what about something that like really matters? That's like, I don't know, fucking some homeless shelter or something. Or something like, rent control, rent freezing. Like everybody will come out for Elizabeth Street Garden, and that's great. I'm glad they saved it. But they were trying to build affordable housing. It's like, where the fuck are they going to build it? I mean, it would be great if somebody got in there with like some real visionary ideas about how to develop some new housing, because you probably could build some nice shit. Some of the stuff in Greenpoint I saw was pretty nice, to be honest. Some of these new buildings, they're not all bad. Some of this stuff I see them building around here, I'm like, I don't hate this just because it's new. They're building some new apartment buildings that have, you can tell they're bigger. They've got more units. Like, they're bigger than a tenement. A tenement's only 4 or 5 or 6 stories tops. There's only so many apartments in a tenement building. As much as I love tenement buildings, some of these newer apartment buildings they're building are just bigger, and like they don't look too bad, some of them. It's not about just like everything new sucks. It's just like they happen to build shit because of the in-shitification of everything. Crapitalism. Because capitalism incentivizes just cutting corners and not reinvesting any of the fucking money. One of the reasons why they do tax people is so they spend their fucking money. Because if you spend your money on your business, you can write it off. So by having a high percentage of tax, you're incentivizing people to put money back in the economy with their own, how they want to use it. You're not just taking it from them unless they don't spend it. The reasons why we tax people is to maintain a power balance in a lot of ways. And one of the reasons why our society is just like rotting on the fucking vine is because rich people are just getting too much of the balance of power, and their descendants. There aren't ideas of merit that are getting through because everything is so fucking blocked up with rich people's bad ideas, Elon Musk's shitty ideas, and people like that. Peter Thiel's shitty ideas. All of these fucking tech people's bad ideas are just getting force-fed to our society. But in any case, the City Beautiful era, that's something I heard. I don't know what that is, but apparently there was some era in this country where when they were building the cities, they were doing it in such a way as to make it look nice. I think it was late 19th century, early 20th century. A lot of the shit in New York, I think, was built. Is Beaux-Arts, is that City Beautiful, or is that a different thing? But, a lot of these fucking tenement buildings have ornamentation. They've got gargoyles, or they've got some kind of lion on it, or some kind of fig leaf, or, they've got some kind of mythical, metaphorical, poetic visage, that gives the building a story, a soul, a narrative. That costs money. These new buildings, they don't, that's not part of the value. That's not part of you can't put that on the budget sheet. That's just extra. Well, we got to cut that because we can't afford that shit. We just want to make it as simple as possible. It's functional. That's it. It's a 5/1 or whatever the hell it is. It's a glass tower, nondescript. I saw this meme. It was New York in the time of before glass structures. In the 20th century, New York was all fucking clay and brick and there were windows and shit, but more like Rockefeller Center type looking things. Empire State Building. Now everything is just some kind of T-1000 looking glass. Fucking, it looks like a fucking hash pipe. And I think people are waking up to that, at least on my side of TikTok. Maybe that's just because it's my obsession, but I think people are waking up to hey, everything's expensive, and our lives, our quality of life has really gone down compared to our parents because of all of this shit. Because of in-shitification. And all the cars are gray and silver. There's this guy, he takes a picture from the roof every day of how many cars in this parking lot have color. It's the whole parking lot is full of black and silver and gray cars. Because some market research or some shit said that was the easiest one to sell or something. I don't know. So, I don't know. We're just trying to keep our world colorful and interesting and unique. Homegrown. Okay, we like homegrowns. New York used to be a city of small businesses, mom and pops, people making their own signage, making their own decisions, controlling their own destiny, manifesting and executing their own ideas. And it's like in Mad Men. Don Draper wants his own fucking thing. He doesn't want to work for McCann Erickson. He wants Sterling Cooper and Partners. He wants Sterling Cooper, Draper, Price. In a certain way, he is this explorer guy, or he's this adventurer. The adventure for him is this business. It's his business, and he lives or dies based on his fucking pitches and his takes, and if he gets Heinz or fucking Buick or whatever the hell it is, Pepsi, Hershey's. We all know how well that went. Don't have a nervous breakdown at your Hershey's pitch. Start talking about how you're a whore child. I grew up in a whorehouse. My dad was kicked by a horse to death. Was any of that true? Yeah, so hopefully New York becomes a utopia of universal basic income, rent controlled artist housing, government grants for open mic zine live streamers, government subsidized live streaming, government subsidized weed programs, poetry. I would love to, make poetry zines, teach a class on how to make poetry zines. I apparently, there was this article, are there too many books? Who's the guy? Bill McKibben or something was saying there's too many books because apparently they publish over 200,000 different titles in the United States since every year or something. And I guess there's more self-publishing than ever. Supposedly self-publishing is like exploding. I think that's a great thing. I mean, I'm part of that, I guess. I'm part of the self-publishing explosion. Speaking of which, I'm going to be giving away some of my real books on Monday. This last Monday, I gave away a bunch of my chat books because I had all these review copies. And to be honest, they're all fucked up. They're all out of order. I'm sure people were reading it and just being like, this shit sucks. This makes no fucking sense because it's all out of order. They're really they're like cut ups. That's where I was looking at is like the computer kind of did a cut up on it where it's like it took this poem and put it here and took this part of this poem and put it here. And this is going, like everything is kind of jumbled. So I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. Let me just get rid of this shit. It's been a long time. I've kind of weirdly put that part of myself to sleep in a way over the last couple of years, like distributing my zines and shit. Even though I've been making them, like I made a bunch of new zines. I've got a new book that I need to publish. It's just like I sort of don't have the money. And it's just, I don't know, distributing it, carrying it around. I really only go to one thing a year, New York City Poetry Festival, where like I can sell books. And so, it's like, am I going to carry it to the open mic? Like, I don't know. I just sort of stopped distributing that stuff. That used to be my whole thing is I'd go to fucking readings and just give away these zines. That's what I was doing coming out of the pandemic. I'd go to every open mic and just give zines. Anybody who wanted, just take it, just read it. I just wanted people to read the shit, because that's a different relationship. It's important to spend time with it and to have it. It's almost like this intimate thing to have a book of somebody's poetry or something. And they can really see it for what it is. When you're hearing it out loud, you're getting an impression and you're judging it, but it's like, you're not really this, you really can pin down what it is. And if you spend time with it, hopefully it will like reveal itself to you, what it is, why the choices were made, the meaning of why it's the way it is, the meaning of why, I write the way I do and date everything and publish it this way. And, it's all meant to be serial, scrapbook, time capsule, diary, novel installments, episodic television. Can't wait to find out what happens next. And so I don't know, whatever. I mean, part of it is I'm moving. So I'm just like, I've got this stuff and I'm like, you know what? I'm just looking through it. And it's like, I got to distribute this. It's just sitting in boxes at my house. It's like, it would be better if it's just out there. I've got 100 fucking chapbooks and I've got a number of fucking like hard, perfect bound So my storage unit flooded a couple years ago. I don't know if people remember that, but I had my shit in the storage unit in Midwood, and it was right across from a bathroom, and the bathroom overflowed. It wasn't, it could have been a lot worse, but it was, there was some shit that really got fucked up. Not least of which, a box of my self published poetry books, my, LA story book, my pandemic book, my Paris book, all of my, self published travel city kind of diary books, which I'm proud of. And they are like, as far as I'm concerned, they are like my books. I do think they're like legitimate books. And like, I do feel like I've written a number of books because they are what I meant to do. And they're meant to be like pocket novel things that like it'll probably take you a couple hours to read, but it's also a poem, so it's like you can really read it a million times and it hopefully doesn't get old, and you can continue finding what it means, and hopefully there's shit that is memorable in it. And uh so it's meant to sort of be both of those things. They're meant to be city travel journal, Rick Steves, Europe, here's Paris, but they're also novel uh, poems like Dharma Bums or fucking Big Sur or whatever, these kind of individual short 180 page, 200 page, whatever the hell, few hours reading. But you can take it with you and, it'll end up in a used bookstore or something and have that kind of paperback life. I don't know if we're phasing out of that, or to me this is kind of the new model. I don't think necessarily publishing or even reading and writing is going to go away, but like there's certain people that are going to specialize in it and like to do it, and they're going to become more engaged because it's not just a legacy media of like selected pool of people who get to do it. It's like now everybody can do it. Everybody can be a writer and an entrepreneur through their social media presence, a performer, a reader, a distributor, of their own work, sell their own books, sell their own whatever the hell it is, CDs, their own online presence, whatever fucking promotional fucking tie-ins they can get out of that. That's like one option if you want to be an artist, right? Rather than getting some big book contract with Scribner or whatever, FSG. You can still do that, I guess, if you can do that, but everybody else can try their hand in it too. And the internet is kind of encouraging us to think of ourselves and to empower ourselves and to turn ourselves on in that way, to post on TikTok, to post on Instagram, to post on YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever it is, to be an artist, to make music, to make films, to make videos, whatever the fuck it is, to do comedy, to do podcasting. Ashley's on her way back now, so I'll just go till Ashley gets back. I think that's great. So I had a bunch of these books in my storage, and the box got wet because, like an idiot, I put it on the floor. I shouldn't have put it on the floor. And so it didn't ruin all my books, but a few of them got water damaged. And so, I'm thinking maybe I should just give these away. Like like I said, they're just sitting in a box at my house. It's like, I've got to get people reading this shit. Hello? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I got a new subscriber. Welcome, Fox Z. Thank you for subscribing, Fox Z. For those just now tuning in, I lost 4 subscribers with my last live stream because of my controversial takes on the regime change, the conflict in Iran, whatever the hell you want to call it. So I've lost 4 subscribers because of my controversial opinions. Hey, that's just cost of doing business. Okay. If you're going to go hard, you're going to alienate some people, but it's polarizing. Some people get alienated, but also other people are drawn in. That's the hard thing about being polarizing. Like Trump is very polarizing, right? Like certain people are just absolutely not, never, hate his guts. A lot of people, but then there's a lot of, there's some people that are fucking just stoked about all of it. Polarizing. I think one should be prepared to be polarizing, even if it's not what you really want. It's kind of an unexpected result to be polarizing. You'd like to just have everybody like you, I guess. Okay. How the fuck did I start talking about? Oh yeah, I got water damaged poetry books that I'm gonna bring to open mic on Monday. So come out Monday, June 30th, to open mic. I'll have free books for everybody. These are real books, okay? These are water damaged, just like me. Water damaged books for free. Free, because I just want people to read it. I just want people to see my poetry and be like, okay, interesting. And it will just, the whole point of doing any of this shit is just give people ideas to do their own shit, show people. Well, one of the things that I think is interesting about this Brian Wilson biopic and approach is this idea of like modular, or how long is a song really? What is a song really? Because I'm sure Brian Wilson has a lot of feelings and like motifs and sort of like choruses, or I think as artists you just have bits and pieces of a lot of different things, right? You have lines, you have little parts of poems that maybe aren't finished, parts of songs. I know I've got shitloads of parts of songs. That's just like, well, do I really want to write a verse or two verses for this? And, it's like, maybe not every song needs to be that. Maybe you can have a song that's 15 seconds long or 30 seconds long. I think there might be Giants album where it was just like every song was like 20 seconds. Like, I think that's perfectly valid. I think that's actually a fun way to think about it. Or even what really long songs, like some of these songs on my, I encourage people to look at, I have a songs from a life compilation, not that people listen to it, but there's certain songs in there that are 9 or 10 minutes long that are just kind of like repetitive droning guitar things. It's like, that's kind of a vibe and a mood too. It's like not every song has to be 3-minute, 4-minute, 2-verse chorus thing. You can tell with the Beach Boys, he was trying to figure out ways to max the songs out, to make them singles or album cuts, to make them 4 minutes long. But you can also tell that he just had a bunch of ideas that he sort of figured out how to stitch them together, weave them together into these kind of modular songs, which were actually a bunch of different songs, like Good Vibrations. It's not just a verse and a chorus. It's like there's, 4 or 5 or 6 different little songs that manage to convince you that they're kind of like this narrative. And that whole Smile album is sort of like a longer version of that, where there's these movements, these compartments, there's these sort of acts where it's like, this is the western part, this is you're in this is, you're in a cornfield, this is ocean, this is cool, this is relaxed, this is panicked, all these different moods, pure moods. And that's one reason why I listened to that album a lot. It's really, to me, in a certain way, the only album that does that. As many concept albums as there are and rock operas, it's like they're always just kind of songs. Whereas like the Smile thing really does feel like one interrupted, it feels like Fantasia or something. It's like this dream, It's like a one long piece that like you kind of have to listen to it all the way through, even though it's got wind chime, it's got vegetables, it's got surfs up, it's got these songs that they took out and just released as alone. Hard to believe they were doing surfs up in 1966 or any of that stuff, to be honest. They were doing that before the Beatles did Sgt. Pepper. They were doing surfs up. That's pretty amazing. I thought that song came out like in the early 70s or something. And so you can see that with the vlogs. The vlogs are kind of like an imitation of that, where they're just like this long smear of vibes and it is all meant to kind of like flow. I think that's something. It's when I do readings and stuff, it's hard because my poems aren't these little beginning and ending things. It is more just like turning on a radio and the thing's just on for 15 minutes and then you turn it off. It doesn't stop. There are no breaks. Not really. There's no stopping and starting. There's no gaps for applause. It's just like a stream. It's a river. It's 11:15. We got one person watching. Ashley's on her way home. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Anything new else I need to report? I guess. The next thing I have coming up that's like a real gig is New York Poetry Festival. That's July 12th, 5 p.m. I think on the White Horse stage. So look for us there. I am doing a rooftop show July 26th. So I don't know. I'm going to try to hit up some open mics. I'd like to do some comedy. It's been a while since I've done Well, I did the clown show, but I'd like to do some that kind of. The thing about poetry is like, as a performer, I like reading, and I love doing that, and it's important to me. But like as a performer, it's not that exciting because there's not that much you can do. People just want you to read. It's like with comedy, you can just jump off the walls, fucking do impressions, do voices. Music, kind of the same thing. Poetry, it's like, I don't know, maybe I should find more of a way to be performative or something, but it's like, for the most part, a poetry reading is not really a performance. It is what it says. It's a reading. It's just like an airing out. It's just like showing. It's like showing your art or something. It's not really like. You could go all out with the reading, and maybe that's what I should do. But like on Mondays at KGB, it's like I don't really read at the beginning of the show unless it's like poetry month or there's some special reason why. Like, because it's like, well, I'm probably going to do that at other open mics or do that someplace else. I feel like I've got to open the show with something a little more, I don't know, bombastic, active, energetic, some kind of big musical number. And it's all, I don't know, it's also like it's a proper forum for that. With a lot of these shows or these mics, it sort of feels like you got to fit into whatever the thing is. If you're doing stand-up comedy, it's like you kind of gotta just energetically kind of, I don't know, stay a certain way, or music. I don't know. I've been kicked out of a lot of places. I have people who think I'm crazy on stage pretty regularly. I don't know. That's fun for me. That's my hobby, is to go nuts on stage. And so the clown show is like the perfect venue for that, where it's like it's encouraged. It's encouraged to go up on stage and like play with the audience and be big and be clumsy and be physical and loud or whatever the hell. Silly. Maybe I should get more involved with that world. But it would be nice to be able to bridge poetry a little bit more with that kind of like bigger performance style, more animated, more using the body, maybe more off book even. But it's like this fucking reading I did at Autos. I think I did exactly 15 minutes. I timed it exactly, but I read kind of fast. If I acted the whole fucking thing out, it'd take me a half an hour. I just read it. Now with my poetry, it's like I really just feel like I'm delivering the material. Like I don't get high. I go to the reading and I just say what I want to say. The poem is like a script for whatever dialogue, monologue, prose, poetry, verbal, language, art that I want to present and sort of air out for people to just take in. Just take it in, think about it. You're not really meant to get it all the first pass. You're meant to watch it and rewatch it like Grateful Dead fucking concerts. There's meant to be 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 different strands of things kind of weaving together and forming a rope. Weave, it's the weave, everybody. But I don't know. I'm not. This is why I have to give away my poetry for free at the open mic. Well, I guess it's just some kind of pathetic attempt to just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm doing these readings and just like no one's even coming. Or, like there's 12 people there, but it's like nobody that I know came. This fucking gig on Saturday was the same thing. Like there was probably 10 or 12 people there, but it's like nobody that I know came. And so it's like, I don't know. I've got to get my work to connect with people. I don't know. I'm having like a crisis of my identity as a writer because Ashley is just like doing all this stuff, doing all these interviews, getting all these opportunities. And, you're standing right next to somebody. It's like, you're invisible. It's like, she's this great writer. And it's like, who the fuck are you? And it's like, well, I'm a fucking writer too. God damn it. I taught her probably 20% of what she knows. And I don't know. I just don't know how to like establish that in any way. Like to do these readings, nobody comes, nobody watches them on YouTube. I gotta beg people in like this pathetic way to even get the spot. And it's like, I'm sound like I'm being insecure or something. And it's like, I know that people will like, or, I do get the guys from Sewage love my reading. John J. Trouse love my reading. Both those guys from Sewage came up to me after the dude sent me a message on Instagram saying how much he liked it. So it's like, it's just weird because I know I am connecting and I do feel like I'm good at this. Eileen Miles said they love my fucking piece. And yet it's like, I don't get published. Nobody asked me to publish. Nobody asked me to read. I don't usually send my stuff out, but when I do, it's usually too late, and I send it to like the wrong place, and I've already pissed the people off or something. And there's all these hot fucking people downtown that do all these readings and shit. It's like I'm not on that radar. So it's like, what? I need to reinforce my presence somehow. I'm this open mic host, and even in that, it's sort of like this invisible thing. It's not really respected by people in the poetry world. Every once in a while, one of those people will sort of like saunter in and sort of take a curious look around and sort of be condescending about it and then leave. Like I've had a number of like serious poetry people come in. They don't read, they never read. They just sit there and they go, "Well, this is crazy," and then they leave. It's like, okay, well, fuck you then. If you're too good for open mic, then fuck you. I'm sorry. And that's a lot of people, you know. But we have great writers, so I don't know. You can't like it's cringe to like try to like enforce that on people like, "Hey, I'm serious. I want to be taken seriously." Uh but it's more just like I've got these fucking books. They're damaged. I want people to read them. I need to get them out there. In New York, especially, it's like, I don't know. Who knows who will read it? Who knows who will be inspired by it? Who knows what it will lead to? I need to get who knows what the fucking future is going to be like. In a certain way, this is all brought on by like our regime change and like the fact that we're quickly heading toward God knows what. Really, who knows what? A lot of people are predicting the worst. A lot of people are predicting we'll be in a war, we'll be in a civil war. I mean, who the fuck knows? So it feels like is Project 2025 is already happening. They're not wasting any time with that. So it's like, how much longer are we going to have to fucking have a good time and do this? And is the summer almost over? Is the party almost over? Uh, you know, and so part of it is like I've been kind of in the same trip for the past 4 years since I got back in 21. And it's been going to KGB, Elizabeth Street Garden, distributing my pamphlets, and then doing this, coming here and watching shitty movies. But, I want to be out there doing readings, getting my shit in front of people, connecting with people, you know, uh, that's what I should have been doing the last 2 years. I've been caught up for obvious reasons. That's just life. You don't really get to you don't get to choose when it happens. Certain shit just happens and it just happens. But I mean, a part of me is trying to tap back into that where it's like, I was getting my work to people. They were enjoying it. They were reading it. It was connecting. I kind of got disconnected from that because of that when that flood happened, and just like this sort of took over my whole everything. And I don't know. I've just got to that I'm trying to just get this work out so it'll connect. They'll take it with them, and that'll provide a little bit of a kind of re-energization for like for the next few months or something. Until whatever the next big project is. But it's no sense in having all these books and just like sitting on them. Like to me, it's not even about the money. I mean, it's awesome to like get to sell books and to walk out with, if I could sell a chapbook for $5 or $10 or a real book for $20 and walk out with $50 or whatever, that's pretty cool. But it's also cool to just have people reading what the fuck you're writing, and for them to have one of your books and want one of your books. And so, yeah. we're going to have a lot of free giveaways this summer at the open mic. Come out to the open mic. We've got a lot of fun giveaways planned. Club Paradise, we're going to be giving away free shit to all of our loyal fans. Jack is off for the next 2 weeks, everybody. It sucks. We'll miss him, but I don't blame him. I mean, he's been doing it every freaking week for a long time, so it beats you down, but this break is well earned. I hope he has a good time off. So we'll have a good time. I mean, all the bartenders are awesome and fun and do a great job. So it's a blast. I mean, I really appreciate people coming out. And this last week was incredible. We had new talent that was like off the freaking charts. And, you know, there's new people arriving to the city and there's just incredible people. So, you know, I just want to maintain this, keep this up, and just keep it going. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to motivate people, get people moving with their art, and you know, we've only just begun. I'd like to do collaborations and more gigs. I'd like to do movies with people. I'd like to get out and do more fucking comedy shit and just hang out and vibe with everybody. So thank you for watching. Happy fucking Pride. Be safe, everybody out there. If you see something, say something. Come to the open mic on Monday. You know, we got amazing people on the list already, and just every week is a new fucking party. I'm amazed and just lucky to be there, throwing a party every week and having fun. Listening to people do their work and learning from it and appreciating it, enjoying it, meeting everybody. I'm looking for a place to live. If anybody has a room below $900, this guy, looking for a place to live, help me out, help a brother out. And book me, god damn it. Contact my manager. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe. Go back and watch my vlog. Nobody watched my vlog this month. It got 0 likes. I don't know. Like I said, I think somehow I got 18 people watching this at some point. I don't know why so many people are tuned into this, but I'll take it. Let's get this nice shot going on before we sign off. You gotta love that. The outside. I wish I could just set the camera up right here. Just do the whole thing from right here. All right. Well, anyway, if you have any movie recommendations, leave them in the comments. I can't wait to see what the #1 movie of the 21st century is. It'll be revealed tomorrow by the New York Times. Thank you for watching, everybody, and buy my book. Come out to the open mic. Take my zine for free. Read it. Learn it. Love it. Tell your friends. Follow me on social media. Write about me. Write articles about me in fucking the New York Times or Interview Magazine. All right. Anyway, Mumblecore continues. This has been my Mumblecore film, 3.5 hours long. This was longer than any fucking movie Stanley Kubrick ever made. I'm not sure if that's true. Is Spartacus 3.5 hours? Thank you for watching, everybody, and God bless us, everyone. God bless Zorhan, and God bless free buses. The bus is already kind of free, to be honest. Like, a lot of people are already not paying for that shit. So it's like, we appreciate that they want to officially make it free, but kind of already unofficially. You just get on and ride. Get on and ride. Get on that donkey and ride. Jerky, liver lips, sizzle chest. It's Frank Rizzo. Let me get my fucking tools. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. God bless us, everyone.